Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also below this video you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy, and this is a particular note if you drive an electric vehicle. Speaking of Patreons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to Rob H, Ben White, Maximum Gravy, Austin Whitsitt, John Kays, Tommy Swagnuts, Michael Kahn, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Will Brax, Mel B. Styles, Troy Shuker, Bose Nail, Samson, Maris, Hairy Blade, Mobile Mac 777, Neo the One, Lost Cat FE, Rob W, Open Minded, Reese Pound, Del West Watson, Mike, Muted, Dick Earth Skeptic, Maria Neelands, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, The Real Gabster, Liam Nedrick Jr., Abraham Mohammed, Adrian Quintana, Skeptic936, Life is Short, theflatearthchannel.com, Texas Mike, and David Wayne Foster. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I'll raise the mic on whoever's in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their conversation while I set up for today's live show.
Yeah, makes it so much easier.
Yeah, it's nice to have them all right there.
Yeah. Oh, people are in Discord already.
How are you?
Very well, how are you?
Yes.
Very well. What was that new thing? I didn't see the Google Meet thing.
Yeah, you did. You're in Google Meet right now, Neil.
Yeah, I know, but it's not the usual one I see.
Okie dokie. Well, good to have you anyway, Neil.
No, I'm telling you, it's different. It's a whole different thing came up.
The 10th.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. How's it going over there?
Going very well, thank you. How's it going over there?
Oh, change of weather. Got the fireplace going in the wood stove, so I stoked that this morning a little bit.
Nice.
Very good, very good.
Yep. Hey, Neil, how you doing?
Doing good. How you doing?
How you doing? I'm going to post a couple of things in Master B from a sextant manual. Nathan, do you want me to do it, or you have other plans?
No, you go ahead. Let's have a look.
All right.
It's Flat Earth Debate. Put them to work. Push them buttons.
Push them. I'll never live that one down. Here's one. All right, we'll just do these two, I guess.
How's everyone in Discord? Well, 10th's just sorting this imagery out.
Doing well, Nathan. How are you?
I'm well.
All right, tell me when you got them. I'll go back.
I've got them.
All right, let me obviously show the cover title. I guess Sean Hawkins sent a sextant manual zip file or something to Arvin, and Arvin said, Sean Hawkins wants me to look at this. I said, I have that one and others. So I was trying to figure out why Sean Hawkins would send me a manual about the sextant. So I decided to look at one of them I got, plus the one he gave me. And so I just want to talk about a couple of things here. So here's the user's guide for the Mark 15 and Mark 25. Go to the next slide. Correcting for the height of eye. Now remember, what's the warning about orthographic pictures, Nathan, for the audience? Muppet Vision?
No perspective. Don't get to see the
Thank
side of your own head.
Correct. All right, here we go. Correcting for the height of eye. When measuring the altitude of the sun, you need to measure the angle formed by a ray from the sun and a plane tangent to the earth at the point where the observer is standing. We'll come back to that. However, due to the height of eye of the observer, the visible horizon actually falls below this theoretical place. This requires that a dip correction be made. Due to the height of eye of the observer, the visible horizon, H, falls below the plane tangent to the earth at the point where the observer is standing, P. To apply a dip correction for the height of the eye, apply a correction as shown in the table below. Dip correction increases as the eye is raised further above the surface of the water. Then it gives you a table, and it tells you if you're 5 feet above the surface of the water, it's a 2-minute dip correction. If you're 10 feet, it's a 3-minute dip correction. And then it ends by saying dip correction must always be subtracted from the sextant reading. Well, obviously, because you got to get it to the surface of the water. Now, there's several things wrong with this, and absolutely, the truth is in there. So let's go to the first paragraph. When measuring the altitude of the sun, you need to measure the angle formed by a ray from the sun and a plane tangent to the earth at the point where the observer is standing. Now, if you look at that picture and you see the plane tangent that's drawn, is that a straight line?
Not for them, it isn't. Black Swan.
I know, but in this picture, they have a curved surface and they have a plane tangent that extends, and you can see to the far left, it shows a dip, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, well, that's nonsense because it tells you right on top. When measuring the altitude of the sun, you need to measure the angle formed by a ray from the sun and a plane tangent to the earth. Well, if the curve of the earth is at a certain distance, if the earth was a ball, which the black swan proves it isn't, but if it was, if you were actually doing it on a curved surface, you could only do it on a certain part of it and no further. So it doesn't make any sense. So that's why they make you draw that straight line, that horizontal line. And then furthermore, that if you look to the far left, they're saying that this angle measuring device actually, for thousands of miles, the dip correction, if you're 10 feet above a sailboat, is only 3 minutes of arc. Really? 3 minutes for 10 feet? And then that GP of the star is thousands of miles away, and that little drawing of dip is supposed to represent thousands of miles, and it's only a 3-minute correction in the books? 10 feet? Is that all the earth curved? Nonsense. Plus, to add to matters worse, make the matters worse, early here in the morning, look at where they show the height of eye to the far right. The height of eye correction is from the eye to the plane tangent. The surface of the water, not that other thing that shows it curving away. So this dip correction is used to bring the sextant to the level of the water so you can form that angle because you need a corner, a vertex. And because they have to fool everybody, they draw a sphere and they show it to the left as something as extreme as what you see there. And yet to the right, it says that the correction is only from the eye to that straight line. What nonsense. How can you say the dip correction is the height of eye between those two straight lines on the right, representing the eye line and the water line, and then on the left show that the dip is that tangent to a curve? Do you see it?
I do, but yeah, the one on the left that they don't do, that isn't how it's done. They're going to need R
Correct.
for it, and they don't have any straight lines for it. The one on the right, where it just shows you correcting for how high you are above the surface, that's how it's actually done. So this is what's
Correct.
actually done. This, you're going to need R for, you haven't got it. You're going to need straight lines for, you haven't got them. So, I don't care.
I know, but I'm just trying to, because they'll look at this picture and they'll say, oh, see, it works on, sextant works on the ball. No. This is contradictory here. They're telling you it's the height of eye above the water to the right. They're showing you something else on the left. That dip is not that thing on the left. The dip is that thing on the right. Plus, you
Indeed.
need an angle.
Right.
Plus, you need an angle. And you can't get an angle off a curved surface. So you wake up, ballers. They're lying right in front of you, right here. And it tells you right here.
So who sent that to you, Tent?
John Hawkins sent it to Arwen to send it to me. And I said, I have that one and many others, meaning actual sextant download manuals from the internet. And I spotted this right away. These ballers fall for this trickery that's so obvious that within this one slide, you can prove everything.
Indeed.
It's not, they're thick. I mean, I will tell you, they're thick.
There's certain principles that have to be applied when you're describing how a sextant works. One of them being the flat plane that you're going to get your angle from. Well, you can't deviate from that inherent geometric principle that you're going to imply when you measure an angle. So there's no deviating from it. So pictorially they can deviate from it. Like you say, on the left-hand side of this page, they're showing a horizon dip a la Alberuni. And on the right-hand side of the page, they're showing height adjustment, also known as dip correction. Oh, well, that's not a surprise either.
Yeah, see, you summarized it perfect. Thank you. I just wanted to get this out because this is what I mean, look, I've got other books that I've ordered. I can't spend hundreds of dollars on this in 2 years almost. I've got books on how to take apart sextants, put them back together. Every little screw is identified. I've got books on how sextants work that aren't manuals of sextant companies that are thicker than the manuals from the sextant companies and go into more detail. Then I've got sextant manuals. There's no getting around this. It's an angle measuring device.
Tent, it's like anything else. When you're dealing with ballers or anti-flat earthers, they wiki something or they Google something, and as soon as it comes up, they put, see, right there. Well, that's what they're doing with the sextant. They
Yeah.
give a little illustration.
Yeah, but they're not
and
reading
they're going
it.
by an illustration.
Yeah, they're looking at the pictures, ignoring the bits of the picture that don't match what they want to see, and
Exactly.
ignoring the text that goes along with the pictures that describes something that isn't depictorially represented on the left-hand side of this diagram with an Alberuni dip angle to a spherical horizon that won't give them a straight line in the first place. Now, all of that, no straight line to acquire on the left-hand side, none of that's mentioned. None of that's detailed. It's only in the pictures. So they've gone, oh, look at this picture, it's got a sphere in it. There you go, proof. That's about the level of mentality when you're dealing with someone like Sean Hawkins. He's thick.
That's what I'm saying. The same thing like when you argue. They Google something. This one, they got a picture. See? They're doing it right here.
Right.
Do you see this? Do you see the slide that Kiwi put up that I put up a long time ago, just prior to my slides? The 2021 year of the sextant, the color one. Can you put that one up? Glad Huey put that up.
Yeah.
Okay, well, here it is, folks. Go get some books. Go do a little reading. And preferably the ones without pictures, so you can understand how the tool works, and then look at pictures, and then see if the book that's written that shows the picture matches how the tool works, rather than the deception that's all around us these days. And you can see here that shows a protractor. Guess what a sextant is called by all who study it? A glorified protractor. It's an angle measuring device. And guess what you need? A baseline. Welcome to Interstate 180. You need a right angle. You need a right angle triangle from the GP of whatever luminary you are citing. You must have that 90. It doesn't work without it. And I've shown that here to the left, where the sun is somewhere over the flat plane, creating that 90 to the observer. And there's your angle. There's your triangulation where you get two or more circle of equal altitude, so you can establish the fix, meaning the observer's fix. Okay, we already know where the sun is because we got the nautical almanac or the air almanac. We already know what longitude, latitude, the grid system that they've made for the sky that's here on Earth when it's directly over a place on Earth. We already know all those things. We just need to know where we are in relationship to it. And here it is, folks. It's as simple as this. Do you see any curves in this picture? Do you see anything curved? Can this protractor work on the curve?
No curves. Cannot work.
Adam.
Come on, Discord.
Adam. Nothing from you, Adam.
The man's busy working.
Yeah, very good.
Anyway, that's all.
10th.
Yeah, that's
very,
all.
very good.
Just a short, put the stupid little fire they're trying to make out because they have nothing. They have absolutely nothing. They don't even have R.
That's the main thing.
I mean, it's just ludicrous for them to even draw a sphere because they don't even have R.
Let me go make some chocolate milk. Oh, wait a second. I don't have milk.
We don't have chocolate. Not yet, at least.
Oh, we have chocolate milk. Can't you see it in the picture here, Nathan? There's a cup of chocolate milk.
Okay.
Are you kidding?
But it's as silly as that. I mean, come on.
Yeah, very silly. You know, the deception on maybe other subjects is very deep and complex. It isn't so much with the sextant. It's an angle measuring device. It can never work on that imagery that we showed before, a ball, a sphere. It can never work.
Yeah, but I got a question then. I understand all of this. How does it get by everybody?
You're asking that question of all people on the panel. The great deceiver, how does it get by everybody? This beautiful creation.
I mean, but I'm
Hang
saying
on,
that...
let me finish. This beautiful creation that we can step out and look at and say, wow, this is organized. This has got some detail, DNA attached to every living thing that's different than any other living thing and cannot be anything other than the code within the living thing. So there's no morphing into something else crap. You know what? There's got to be a creator. I just don't know. I'd like to know, but there's got to be a creator. Okay, that's what most people do until they go to school. Oh, it came all by accident. Oh, this and all this. Yeah, just trying to get the creator out of everybody's consciousness.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also below this video you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy, and this is of particular note if you drive an electric vehicle. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. Now we are joined by Neil, 10th Man. We've got Adam back, so hello Adam, and also a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
How are you?
We're all very well. Thank you for asking. Hello, Arwin.
Can you hear us, Nate?
Yes, you're coming in loud and clear, Adam. Excellent stuff.
Reboot.
Arwin, quick sound check. Say hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello, good to have you. Excellent stuff.
Am I still loud?
No, you're perfect. Absolutely everyone's perfect today.
All right. Cool.
Am I good in chat? Let me know. I don't know till after the show. Apart from the testing I do.
No, I was listening and the sound was just perfectly fine.
Oh, well,
in
that's
YouTube,
good to hear. Epic. Happy days all round. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon, formerly known as the curve of the Earth? That's Earth curve.
I've missed housekeeping for a while, so I'll go. No.
Any newbies watching, just bear in mind that the fundamental premise of living on a sphere requires the belief of having Earth curve. That's like a pretty basic tenet of the fundamentalist religious sphere belief. Would we not all agree?
Agreed.
I fundamentally in it, but you wouldn't necessarily expect to see that.
Marked with an X, labelled horizon. In there, begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking. Quote, Earth, curve, calculator. When you say you wouldn't expect to see it, I wouldn't expect to see it because I'm a flat earther, but I suspect you're suggesting their rebuttal to a recent strong argument involving this tower, or whatever you call it, oil rig.
Yeah. Whilst you correctly point out there is a special web page for this to calculate it. I think even the calculator admits that it's not what you're going to see. In fact, it has the disclaimer: it's of no use to view the land, to calculate Earth curve. It's just useful mathematically to postulate where Earth curve would be if it's a ball, but it does have a disclaimer that you can't use it whilst viewing over the sea.
I see. So in terms of viewing Earth curve, we're better off seeing it over the topology of the land that's already undulating in varying ways anyway. Is that what it suggests also? Or it just says that, where your average Joe's going to go out and find the horizon pretty easily, you're best off not looking at trying to find Earth curve there.
Yeah. Don't expect to see it with your eyes. Only expect to reify it in the mathematics.
That's right.
Or the
And when
calculator.
you do, you take your little picture of the horizon that's not Earth curve and you wouldn't be expecting to see it, and then you go to the maths and it'll tell you how it's Earth curve. It's really easy.
On this subject, Captain Kirk yesterday went high up in the sky, suborbital. And it was, I left a comment because it was the first time that someone went suborbital on one of these private machines that came down and didn't mention Earth curve.
He did get emotional, though.
Yeah.
He was almost crying.
No, that was for Mother Earth. That was just so the fragile Earth can get a mention so they can bring on something, but that's not the subject. Subject is nature of our Earth. I find it quite funny that a guy who played the part of a captain of a show that went on for years that we all watched wouldn't notice Earth curve and wouldn't mention it.
Horizon is not Earth curve.
Right
I'm
on.
talking about.
My
It only exists in the CGI.
Don't you find that funny?
I do, and I don't. I suspect that Shatner's probably got more about him than meets the eye. The overdramatic.
Yep.
I didn't see any Earth curve horizon from high. That doesn't necessarily make him I don't know. That doesn't make him stupid.
Oh no! I'm not.
He's
not
a science
saying-
fiction enthusiast.
Yes.
He was always one, right? And he
says there's
does
no
pay
difference.
attention. He did pay attention even during this. He didn't just like, oh, I'm in a launch. This is so special. No, he actually described how he was staring out of the window, paid very close attention to the sky and how it looked. And he was very impressed. He gushed on about it for like a minute or two about how sudden the transition from a blue sky to suddenly that black appearing. So he paid careful attention. He was actually exploring with his eyes.
Good for him.
Yes, he was.
So would I be. I mean, I'm very jealous. I'd love to
Me
go that
too.
high. It was one of the things that I described first when I got here in the flat Earth subject. I was like describing being a rep on a plane, thinking, God, I wish I could go higher to see the curve, knowing the rhetoric that you couldn't see it from those altitudes. So I wanted to go higher. He's got to go higher. Lucky bastard. Good for you, William Shatner. Hope you enjoyed the trip. You didn't go to space. Space is fake. Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without a container, as per the heliocentric model?
Well, I'm not done. I'm not done.
I've got a question too.
All right, you go first, Adam.
My mates who aren't flat earthers were texting me about this yesterday, and obviously the first thing I pointed out to them was the shape of the rocket, which they twigged and yes, agreed with. I think conversations we've had in the past, but the question I was asking them,
Hold on. What do you mean, the shape of the rocket?
the phallus, the flying
Oh,
phallus.
right. Flying dick shit. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Sure. My mate Sean sent me the one of Dr. Evil's equivalent as well, taking off. But the question I had for them, and it's a question that, and I don't have the answer, I'm not being flippant, is when we were kids, you were going off to be an astronaut, and they wanted the fittest, the fastest, the best, because you had to be just to be able to take the G-forces of a rocket taking off. Now, whilst I concede that at 90 years old, Captain Kirk could do it, is it physically possible for the actor William Shatner to be, or even safe for him to be doing those things? Or are they somehow subjected to different forces in rockets nowadays?
I suspect they lie about the claim to be rockets that are launched into the sky vacuum. Now, given that we know they are definitely, unequivocally, without doubt, going to a sky vacuum, they are definitely not doing that. Therefore, the world's your oyster in terms of what you can describe the fakery as being. Well, if they're not going to a sky vacuum, what are they doing? what does it matter? They're not going to a sky vacuum. But they claim that the rocket that was going to the sky vacuum could orbit, travel at high velocity, pulled incredible g-forces. Now, given that we know they're lying about the very nature of the place they're going to be travelling through, does it really matter that they're lying about the amount of g-forces that these rockets that are going to space pull? You don't think they'd just lie about that also?
But the G-forces only build up as long as you're accelerating. So the biggest danger is during launch. And it did stand out how quickly the thing took off. It like really bolted upward very rapidly. But I don't think it was like constantly accelerating at a dangerous rate. So if it's just moving roughly the same very fast speed, you're not really going to be all squished because of the G-forces, I think. So...
Owen, I've got a question for you on this. You've probably paid attention. I've only seen the headlines. The last Bezos one, I thought the thing about it was you were up there for 3 days in a really prolonged kind of semi-orbital claim before you came back down again. I heard, and I was starting to be correct here, it was like 10 minutes that Shatner was up there.
No.
Huh? What was it? Was he up there 3 days then?
No, he was up there 10 minutes, 17 seconds by one account, 10 minutes, 13 seconds by another account, and 10 minutes, 20-some seconds by another account. This is what I want to talk about once you're done.
Right. It just went up there and went down again. It didn't stay. I think it's just like future talk. Like, oh, we're going to do that to get more investors.
Let's just square this circle with Adam. Right. If you had a cuckoo clock, like an old-fashioned wind-up clock, and you set it on the ground and started it going at midday on the dot just to time the number of hours that ticked by, and then you took up a sophisticated quartz watch on the giant dick, you'd find that was 3 days on the dick, and it was just 10 minutes and whatever many seconds down here. Have you never seen Contact?
There you go. Time dilation. Sorry, didn't think of that. Yeah. It just seems very odd to me that these things only just been developed, and the second flight's a 10-minute flight, and the other one was. They seem very different things for very different purposes. That's probably why they need to be different things.
Right. For Jodie Foster, she spent the whole time she was on the beach. She met her dad. They had cocktails. They had a little chat. Whereas for the guys watching the spinning gyro she fell through, she just fell straight through. It's just that simple.
Yeah, we have the recording, which is what I want to talk about. If you go to Master B, I got a picture that shows where it landed in relationship to where it took off from.
I got a picture of a dusty road.
Yes, that's it. That's it.
It's beautiful.
Well,
beautiful.
Well, the commentator on the news, that was the actual, commentator for the launch throughout, said, "Oh, see in the background, that's the booster landing back." I said, "Really?" So you go up for, Adam, I'm going to need your math here. So you go up for 10 minutes plus, but just round it off to 10 minutes because it's only like either 13 seconds or 20 seconds for the plus. So you go up for 10 minutes from the start of the launch to the to actual landing time. And this is the distance you're away from where you took off from, where the booster landed back, which is, you can see it in the background there. And
let's do equator 10, so it'd be, about 166 miles of rotation at the equator. Yes.
But at Texas, it's got to be near 900 miles or 875 miles of rotation on their spinning Earth. It's not the full 1,000.
146 miles at 10 minutes.
Okay, does that look like 146 miles away from where it took off?
I'm pretty sure a yardstick could measure that.
Nonsense. In which direction did it land? And which way was the Earth spinning? I mean, give me a break. It landed so close to where it took off from. And they're assuming that after 10 minutes, it's 140 some miles away due to Earth rotation, and you could see it like.
Right, shout out to William Shepherd, who said Rob Skiba was a legend in our community. He will be missed. So thank you for the super chat. In case anybody's unaware, Rob Skiba passed away.
Wow,
I'd like
I didn't know that.
Just wish all his family love and prayers, and say thanks to Rob. Back in the early days, I used to watch his stuff with great interest and great learning. And like I say, love to his family, and thanks for some good memories, mate, and some good teaching, especially some of the visual stuff. Rob was a pioneer back in the early days. Yeah, so
Yeah, he was.
God bless, mate.
How did he pass away? What was?
He was being kept in an artificial coma for a long time now, and I don't know all the details. Apparently, some guys are Jaren with a couple of friends, Karen B, and Mark Sargent did a stream about it yesterday on Rockfin. If you're interested,
Yes,
I'll
very
post
sad
it.
news. Although it may seem cold given that the guy's just passed away, the guy ran a very popular website. Has his family got control of that? Because presumably there's going to be stuff that needs to be paid for, or it needs to be shuffled around. Then, as cold as it sounds, I just don't want his glorious website, which is a resource that a lot of Christians use, to just sort of fade into nothing or get shut down because nobody paid the bill, or, you know, is somebody looking at that? Does anybody know?
It's probably a little early for that.
Possibly, but it's certainly worth
It
mentioning.
just happened.
It's like, oh, the guy was great. He's given us a great legacy. Fantastic. Now let's just watch that fade into nothing. No thanks. Yeah, great. Yes, Rob was a great guy and he did a lot of great work. But the worst thing that can possibly happen is that work fades into nothing. That's just my primary concern.
He seemed
Without
like a
sounding
pretty
cold.
organized.
Was coming? Was
he
he
seemed-
able to plan for it? To have things in place?
I doubt it.
I was gonna
Did-
say.
Have you seen Rob? Or did start speaking in past tense? Did you see what he looked like? Guy's like fit as a fiddle.
Yeah, he looked great.
Right. He looked super
Dave.
super fit and healthy.
That's what I'm saying. He was very organized. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I'm just gonna shut my mouth on that. I have no idea.
I think something bad happened, but I dare not speculate.
She's talking
Just
about, I
yet
think
it-
something
Was
bad
that-
happened.
that
The guy's
someone
dead.
you've spoken about?
Hello?
Yes, but
Something bad
like,
happened.
He
Yeah, the guy's
wasn't
dead.
deadly ill when he went to the hospital.
Yes, something definitely
Right?
bad
I
happened.
think he rolled into the bad protocol situation out there. That's what I think happened.
Look, there's a couple of things that concern me, right? I'm going to just ask Adam, because he probably have the answers. If you are in a coma, Adam,
Yeah.
Do you feel pain? In other words, could the process of passing away whilst in a coma be an agonizing death? Or is it a painless, Rob wouldn't have known, therefore we can take solace in the fact that you didn't feel a great deal of pain? Which one is it?
I think
I think
probably
it's
go
painless.
with the latter, yeah. From what you tend to be unconscious, so you wouldn't be conscious of the pain. You're there, pretty much, from what I understand. You're being kept alive with the machines, so but there's no awareness, is this? Therefore, there would be no pain, from what we can tell. But I don't think people come out of comas going, "I was in excruciating pain laying there."
Okay, so there is some solace to take in the fact that I think he spent a good month or more. I think it was longer than a month ago that I found out that he was I believe it was a medically induced coma, correct?
As far as I'm aware, yeah, he was very poorly in the induced coma to just try and stabilise his body function. From that's why they do that, isn't it? So,
Which was indeed the case. So he was essentially stabilised in a medically induced coma for over a month, and then he passed away. So the only solace you can really take from that, because the guy's dead, none of his family are going to ever get to see him again, nor will any of his friends or any of his co-workers or any of the people that worked with him in Flat Earth, it is truly devastating to everybody. Even people on the periphery of Rob, like myself, I had interactions with Rob. You know, it's brought a tear to my eye, as I'm sure it has with a lot of people who are close to him, more so. But by the same token, you do want to see his legacy continue. So if you were unaware of Rob Skiba, check out some of his work. I'm sure his YouTube channel.
Some of these people have claimed to have had experiences of hearing conversations when they're in comas.
Yeah, I've heard accounts. I vaguely remember looking at it 15, 18, whatever it was years ago. I don't know why I had a vague interest in that topic at the time.
I'd like to look at when I was a glober. That'd be like looking at me in a coma. When I was a fucking when I come in here screaming and shouting. I think we should review that, Nathan. Go back and review it, and then I'll talk about what I was thinking at the time and how, like, the mindset of a glober. Do you know what I mean? I think it'd be quite interesting.
Check you out.
Back, it makes me laugh.
Yeah, well,
you,
blow for blow.
I'm sure I was with you in QE, and not how intolerant I was to conversation.
Okay, right, Tommy. Do you ever watch Mind Smash?
Nah.
No, watch Mind Smash.
I've never heard of it. That's the first time.
The guy who pulls apart all the boxing and pulls apart all the MMA fights. Oh God, I'll have to send you a link.
No.
I'll send you a link.
I watch a few study people, but I find these kind of my senseis. I don't really listen to much of
I'll send you a link to one of his videos. If you don't enjoy it, I'll be very surprised. Okay, anyway, the point is he'll pull apart somebody in a ring for the beauty and the mechanics and the physics of their body, the biology rather, of their body as they're punching the crap out of each other, let's be honest. Yeah. But it is still very elegant in terms of how he takes it apart, right? In terms of a transition from flat Earth from globe Earth to flat Earth, initially in 2015, that was a very fascinating thing for people to watch. I had a whole show on it. Moving forward to 2021, and no offense, mate, nobody cares anymore. Nobody's interested in my transition to flat Earth.
No, not the transition. It's more like the, you know, when you're trying to get me to come to a point and you're talking me through it, you're giving me ample amount of time to just stay on argument. And I just kept veering off and just kept walling off, and like, this is what everyone does every day. I heard you debating that guy the other day, and the same thing he was doing. It's just like you can just hear the same thing. And I think glorifying that or shedding light on it will give them less room to move, because you're literally, you even do it in the argument, you even tell them what they're going to do and they do it. But I think by putting it in a different third perspective, it kind of like it takes you out of the picture, isn't it? It says like, look, this is exactly what you're doing. Exactly what every glober does, and just put like a montage together of everybody that just does that.
Stop. Stop. You're putting a great montage together now verbally. Reminiscing is perfect. Do you know why? Because it involves zero work for me.
Yeah, true.
Like I say, we're running a live show right now, so you talking about how you've transitioned and reminiscing and taking yourself through it step by step mentally is something we can assist you with, because we can recall some of the aspects of your first visit here.
Yeah, true.
But, you know, even then I knew you'd transition. I titled the show Tommy Was a Globehead before you'd transitioned.
That's true.
Why is that?
Yeah, for those just tuning in, we're talking about philosophical transition, not physical.
No, philosophical, changing your worldview. Because you can turn certain people, I sense that they're processing it in a mental way that isn't necessarily bracing against it. There's certain others that I suspect might be the same. This might get me some stick, but I think Virus, I see similarities in Virus. I don't know if you know who Virus is, or Akuma Virus.
Yeah, Akuma Virus.
Yeah, I sense the same. However, since I sense that he's transitioned very much into anti-flat Earth, just standard form. But at the start, at least, I sort of sense the same in him.
I agree with you, because he does seem like, you know, he's in on his pursuit for truth. When I spoke to him about, he was on about helium and different sorts of gases that you put in your mouth and you get different voice tones because of the different.
Hold on, you're being challenged, Tommy, and I am, but that matter. Go ahead, Chocolate. Go ahead.
Nah, I don't see that in Virus. I heard that in Tommy when you could probably hear me if you go back to that. You could probably hear me giving Tommy props the first time he came on, when he started to try to get some of the points that we were trying to get across to him. And then he kind of just wailed back into globehead mode. But Virus, I don't see none of that with Virus. Virus to me is one of those dudes, just full of it. I can't see none of that coming out of Virus.
I mean,
He'll
what
go
I
so
agree
far
with Nathan
as
is
to
I think
make
that
up
you
his
hear
own
a
shit to
Kumavara
argue.
talk, and it's like he's on his pursuit for truth. So even though he doesn't say it, I think inside he knows he's wrong. You know what I mean? So he's kind of like admitting to himself that he's still trying to fight the truth himself.
Listen to what Chocolate just said.
I did, and
shit.
so did Tommy. I think Tommy did listen to what was said by Chocolate, and we just don't agree. You know, but you sense different things from different people. You get different vibes. It depends who it is, and you're not always right. So it doesn't matter. It's not like at the end of this we're going to say, yeah, Chocolate was right about virus.
But he might always hold that position though. I think he's probably he's been exposed to the truth long enough now for him to kind of come around to it. But it took me 2 years. It took me a good couple of years, and actually 2 years of watching online. And then my mate became a flat earther, and then I disagreed with him. Then I tried to debate it. Debated for about 4 or 5 years. Then I thought, fuck it. Obviously, these things, this flying tin that they landed on the moon, the footage of the curvature, it's all on like video. I know you're not expected to see it with the naked eye, but if you think about it, every time you need the evidence to see, you can't see it. So in your experience, you cannot experience any of the claims that they're saying to be true. You can't experience any of the claims to be true. You can't experience it. So you can make up whatever the fuck you want, really, if you do it well enough. Because there's no way for you to experience it, is there?
Indeed.
It's so easy, simple trick, isn't it? Every aspect, you can't look at space or look at this computer graphics of this Pluto. Look at this computer graphic image of space. I think. Well, now I'm not even quite sure what the heliocentric model is. I'm thinking, are all the planets in line, flat, like they put in them pictures, or are they all at different sorts of elevation? So how are you supposed to fucking draw your lines to them from how are you ever going to supposed to coordinate any of that? So that means that if, like, let's say Mars is there, then you got fucking the Earth before it. Mars could be substantially higher in space, say, let's in the solar system. So it's not on the same line. So then how would you ever draw a line to it? How would you ever know the difference between the Mars or the difference between where it is in the stars? You'd never be able to know. So they could just say whatever they want.
They're all in line because of space-time, because of Albert Einstein.
So it's all in line then, yeah? It's all flat. It's all like a flat disc. It's all flat, yeah?
I thought there was one exception to that. Hold on. Doesn't the now demoted to a dwarf planet Pluto have a non-planar orbit? Am I incorrect in that? Maybe any heliocentric boffins can correct me from the chat if I'm wrong. But my understanding was one of them didn't. Go on.
Is it Mercury you're talking about?
No. One of them are far outer planets. One of the ones on the extremities, on the outside edge. But for the most part, yeah, it's just a plane. The solar system's just considered to be a plane.
You mean Pluto? Talking about Pluto?
Yeah, I did say Pluto.
That's what space-time is. Like, space-time's claimed to be just a flat plane. And it's bent by or curved by what they call mass. So the center of the center of the globe Earth is in direct line with the center of the sun and the center of Mars and everything else. That's the basics.
Let me just break that down for Tommy though. Tommy, what's just been described to you is a transitional effect from what we were discussing, where you're saying, oh well, you can't experience any of this in reality. Well, having an appreciation of that meant that they took what was being described as space and just made it into a mathematical dimension that doesn't exist anymore called space-time. And that was what was just described to you by Brian. There we go. Pluto's unusual orbit. See, I was right. In their nonsensical heliocentric system, although the solar system for the most part is a planar system, you've got this one oddball claimed to be orbit from the now dwarf planet Pluto. It's all bollocks. I mean, the fact that I know this stuff from years back when I actually was interested in it doesn't mean it has any more sense now than it did then. None of this makes any sense because what we're doing is observing it from the central point to begin with. We're observing these lights move around above our head. And in this system, the sun's at the center. We're moving around it with Mercury and Venus between us and it. It's just, now I think about it, it makes me sigh because it's absurd in terms of how you view what's going on in the sky. this depiction on screen now just looks so alien to me. But I don't know if anybody feels the same.
It's just ridiculous. It's like everything. So even if you did triangulate something and use the maths or whatever, there'd always be some sort of different argument or something you didn't vary in or something you didn't do, and therefore everything you've accumulated is bullshit. It's just they can just do what they want with this. They literally can just make up any shit. Oh, we have this anomaly planet that doesn't follow the same trajectory as every other fucking one in the solar system. It's still in the solar system, but it's not behaving like it's in the solar system, like everything else behaves in the solar system. Maybe something's wrong from the fundamental principle that you're thinking you're looking at something from a curve. These people that are doing this are all doing this with the mindset to make it work in the world that they're imagining. So they're making it work in a world that they imagine. They're not really making it work in what they're experiencing.
Sure.
What you experience and what you imagine are different.
I mean, they can just bung any old layers on. I mean, I remember being introduced to the Oort cloud many, many years ago and thinking, wow, this just sort of popped into existence then. It's just epic. They've decided that that's what it would be like at the very edge of what we call our solar system. You're like, all right.
You need more support, Nathan. I think you what you do tirelessly day in day out. You literally are the head of the fucking the flat Earth debate. You know, and no one's. You need more support. I think it's just
I
mad.
totally agree. Smash the super chat. There's a PayPal link below.
Do you know what I mean? Everyone seems to be hating on it. If you're dedicating your life to it and you're literally going through every single argument, you're willing to, challenge anybody to come in and bring their evidence. It's just, there's nothing that no one can say to that. It's just to do it every day consistently, day in, day out. It's to be applauded. I wonder when we're going to get actually some really good scientist or some really good well-renowned person to come in and get to that.
You said you were listening the other
do you
day,
mind?
right?
Excuse me, he was kissing my ass. I was enjoying that.
I was getting a bit nauseous, to be honest.
I was going to say, all you do is push a few buttons.
I'd like to finish up what I started.
But you know what? It's you know what you got to think about it. You already are the minority anyway, aren't you? The flat Earth side's already a minority, and it's already ostracized. It's already demonized. It's anti fucking establishment. It's anti everything, isn't it? Like anti God. It's not anti God. It's anti. You there. It's there to them. It's anti God. So it's like it's just a massive deal. So you got to show each other some more support and be more like like it's just you got to do it. This is the side that you're trying to educate these people that what they've been taught is a lie. You know what I mean? And you're willing to go through what they're saying and also show what your arguments are. But if they're not willing to even do that, then and you've got all the people are getting support on the globe side, you need to be more supportive and with you guys. So all of you support each other, not even just like people watching or. Just in general, I just think it needs to be more like even his account. Like when you search flat Earth, and the searches are all just like anti-flat Earth videos.
Thank you for all the compliments.
You can't find.
I've got to draw a line under it though. Thank you for all the compliments, though, Tommy. I really appreciate it. And yes, I do hope people support. I do have an electricity bill to pay, which is why I beg with the Octopus Energy thing because it gets me 50 quid also when someone gets 50 quid. But I'm like massively in debt to the electricity company. Because it costs an absolute fortune to keep all of this crap running around me. But there we go. Other than that, I'm pretty happy. I do actually earn a living from doing this, which I am elated about, so I'm not going to moan. But yeah, I've still got to encourage people day in, day out to support me because it is this down to them. If they didn't, I wouldn't be here because the channel, in terms of its monetization, is nowhere near enough to sustain me. But I am sustained on account of the fact that people give me a lot of support anyway. So, you're banging a drum that I have to bang anyway, and people are responsive to that drum, and I'm very appreciative to the people who do support the channel. But I've got to draw a line somewhere. I know 10th Man's trying to get a word in, as is Adam.
Yes. Go back to my image, and there's some excerpts of what William Shatner said.
I've got Israel.
No, that's QEs. Go up higher after that desert picture where I showed you earlier where it landed in relationship to where it took off.
I hope I never recover from this. I hope that I can maintain what I feel now, he said. I don't want to lose it.
No, go up 2 more. Your screen is so big and covered.
There we go.
All right.
I'm actually looking.
I'm actually looking forward to seeing the Earth from a different perspective than I ever had before, he said in the CBS Morning Crew interview. Now think about this. He played the part of Captain Kirk. He traveled the universe, and he says, I'm actually looking forward to seeing the Earth from a different perspective than I've ever had before. This is fantastic. I just can't wait to stare out the window and feel differently about humanity and our planet than I've ever had the opportunity to before. Next slide. I want to see space. I want to see the Earth. I want to see what we need to do to save Earth.
Wow.
Shatner told CBS Morning Gail King before lunch. I want to have a perspective that hasn't been shown to me before. That's what I'm interested in seeing. He got his wish. And then he says at the last one, I hope I never recover from this. I hope that I can maintain what I feel now. He said, I don't want to lose it. There's a lot in that interview. These are just some excerpts. But the feeling, I had that when I went to Six Flags and I kept going on that roller coaster because it felt great. I just want to know the perspective. When you got up there, did you see curvature? And if you did, why didn't you mention it? Or by not mentioning it, were you telling us something?
Because why make it up? If you're actually being truthful and emotional in that moment, why make something up? If you didn't see curvature, why would you say, why would you interject that into the conversation?
Well, he did say he wanted to save the planet. So that would be not tell the truth then at that point, wouldn't it?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
That's fine. He's already under the impression that it is a planet. But what I'm saying is, like, for him to not be like, oh, I saw the curvature of the Earth and it was beautiful, blah blah blah. It's like if he's actually being truthful in an emotional, what's supposed to be an emotional moment, right? Well, why would he make that up? Why would he interject that? It's just not there because the curve's not there.
But that's what I. Just 1 second, Adam. So that's what I meant. He said he wanted to save the planet. So saving the planet will be coming back down and not telling the truth. You understand?
I understand. Very good, Brian.
Yeah.
I think you got. Whoa. Let's just rein it in a little bit here, conspiratards. Can we please? So let me get it straight. So because average Joe actor, he's just an actor. He's just a guy who's gone up. He's got the money to do it. He's got the connections to do it, and he's done it, right? But you're going to read that much into his words, right? This isn't the last committee meeting of Neil Armstrong. You know, where he's talking about lifting the veil. This is not that, right? This is a dude talking about his perspective, a very common word, and seeing the planet, which everyone thinks it is. Don't rumpus me. Hello. He's just using.
Flat Earth is getting so popular. That's why.
You're just
save the
reading.
planet. I agree, Brian.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you. So you're just reading between lines that are not there, as far as I am concerned.
No, you're right. I'm with you.
The flat Earth is actually round if you think about it. You think flat Earth is round because you think if the water's above and below, that's like when you imagine the water's like flowing from top to bottom. That's round, isn't it? But so they're probably right. It's round, but they're probably wrong. They're seeing the flow of the ocean and the Earth, but they're not seeing it. Do you get what I mean? They're probably seeing the entire, like the water's above and below and the land's in between. So they're seeing a globe when they look at it. Do you get what I mean? But really, when you look at the world, it's just flat Earth. But if you look at it from like the whole thing with the water's above and below, then obviously you see a globe.
That's all we're talking about.
Don't see any.
No, we're talking about William Shatner, where these dudes are reading in between the words that he said and finding meaning from him saying that he wants to save the planet, if that's what he said. I'm paraphrasing, or he wanted to get a different perspective. Those are just normal things to say. There's nothing to read between the lines on in this instance.
There is, and there isn't.
You know, as you break down atmosphere, right?
Hold on. Hello, Tommy. Hold on. Go on, Adam.
The first two bits are pre-launch, and they read very much standard PR rhetoric, even to the point that we want to put in a little bit about saving the Earth. So could you just mention a little bit about Eco saving the Earth? Shatner. So this is just, you can't read anything into that because it's not been written, not really his words. It's what he's been asked to say. Probably what cost him, instead of paying for the flight. What I find interesting is coming down afterwards, and it's the things that aren't said. So the omission of stuff that I think Chocolate alluded to. And that's not to say anything, but the bit that struck me is the first, I hope I never recover from this. What the word recover implies something has been shattered. Shatnered,
Yep.
even. Okay.
Shatner.
Otherwise, why use the word recover?
Been Shatner.
If I'm going to read anything into his words, that's the only word that I find strange, a strange use of it.
Okay, Nathan. I'd like to
Hang
just say
on,
one
Tommy.
point about the planet, the
Okay,
planet,
don't
right? When
hang
he said the word planet, I started to think about the word, break it down, like plane, net, and the whole world is like the internet, isn't it? So you got planet.
Planete.
No,
You know,
no,
and-
comment.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
boy.
planete. Look up the etymology of planete. Means plane. Anyway,
Exactly.
go ahead.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
And if
Yeah,
you think
yeah.
about when a glober looks at the world, right, they see the waters above and the waters below. So they're literally looking at the flat Earth. If you think about it, they're looking at flat Earth from a different perspective, and they say waters above and waters below, and lands in between. So they literally are seeing exactly what is described in flat Earth. They literally see the ball, but it's not the ball. Do you get what I mean? They're just seeing the water above and the waters below. That's all it is. So you both are correct because you are seeing what you're seeing, but you're seeing what you're seeing in different ways, and it's just like it's a
One
mad,
more,
like,
and one more, and you're going to be asked what the hell you're babbling about with these waters above and waters below that you've mentioned twice.
Look, in the Bible, right, it describes that, or like in religious or text, or even Egyptian, or any sort of if you look in the past, any sort of like description of the world, there's always like waters above and waters below, and land in between. You know, every single all history documents a flat Earth, and then they thought, then they discovered it was round. But the people that are looking at it, right? The people that look at it as round,
we
they
heard
see
all that
waters
bit.
above and
We
waters
heard all
below.
that bit. So
Exactly
just from,
the same.
hold on, from biblical text, what's going on, Tommy? What
What's
waters
going on?
above? What are you babbling about? What waters above?
I'm saying that if you look at the Earth as flat, right?
I heard this bit.
That's what you
Let's
experience.
just
That's what we
rein
experience.
it in. Talking about above, that's above me. Right, so sky.
Yeah.
Waters, you say? What?
That's what. Yeah, describes as the waters.
Yeah.
Tommy, just a sec, just to maybe try and link the two completely disparate conversations that appear to be going off here. You're giving a description, and I think what we alluded to earlier is Shatner isn't. He gives no. He just says, "I hope I never recover from this. I hope that I can maintain what I feel now." What he doesn't say is it's round, it's flat. He doesn't give any description other than the transition bit of how it suddenly goes from blue to black, as far as I'm aware. So his description isn't siding with anything, and I'd say it's interesting in its omission of some of the details that you would expect.
Thank you, Adam. That's precisely my point and why I put it up there. But if you could read a little bit and study a few more things about it, I'm actually looking forward to seeing the Earth from a different perspective. Well, I'd say that would be a different perspective. I mean, very few people see it from that perspective. We all agree with that. And then he said, I just can't wait to stare out the window and feel differently about humanity and our planet than I've ever had the opportunity to before. Okay? I want to see space. Well, when I look up, I see the sky. Okay. Well, you want to see it a little closer, so you got to go higher. Okay, that's fine. I want to see space. I want to see the Earth. Oh, I see from that perspective. I want to see what we need to do to save Earth. Save Earth?
After any saving, I don't think. I think we're just like little electrons walking around a circuit board.
Oh gosh. Tommy, please, let me round out at least. So this whole thing was a perfect opportunity for a guy who played an actor who pretended to go into a place that doesn't exist. He finally got a close-up view like very few people do, and he never mentions it, like Adam said. It's what he didn't say is the more important thing, but the thing he did say, and I think Adam's right, is something about saving the planet, which is being used for other reasons, as we know. Okay, Tommy, go on.
I don't think the Earth needs saving. I don't really got much to say. Just abbreviating on what you say, mate. That's all. I don't think the Earth needs saving. It looks. I think we're just on it, and be here long before and after we ever exist. You know what I mean? So we look at experience on it. Is it really? So I just don't really think the Earth needs saving. I think the world is just here permanently. It's created. It's always going to be. We did like the electrons bit and saying like on a circuit board. When I think about buildings and roadways and systems, they do remind me of just like a circuit board. You got your channels that go down, and same with your bloodstream inside your body. Like we have a brain and processor and stuff like that. Even the way we make computers and stuff like that. Everything's all. We're just basically creating what we are again. Even with computers. Madger. But yeah, I'm just babbling. Someone else want to talk.
No, everyone's letting you babble.
Yeah, I think when you go into buildings and that, you go and you go into loads of people going to these work offices, and there's lots of processing going in them the buildings, isn't there? A bit like electrons going into like a circuit board. There's loads of more reactions and more zeros and ones in them little buildings. And they go out and then they go down the road and they get in the car and they're driving like big powered things that generate more power, and then they use more emissions. So basically they're trying to like use the energy in it. Like, so what would a circuit board be doing? Pretty much the same behavior in it.
No.
I mean, and the whole world has a magnetism, electrical sort of relationship with the world.
Okay, my turn. Back to what Brian said. Flat Earth is getting so advanced and so out there that's what he said. I gotta save the planet. Flat Earth is getting too much publicity.
Okay, hang on, Neil. Nathan, I put another quote. It's the newest one up in Master B.
Yeah, I got
I'll
it.
proceed it by. Okay, yeah, weightless. My stomach went up. This is so weird, but not as weird as the covering of blue, said Shatner. This is what I never expected. It's one thing to say, oh, the sky, and it's fragile. Get it? Right there. Who said the sky was fragile? Who wants us to believe the sky is fragile? It's all true. But what is unknown until you do it is that there's this pure, soft blue. Look at the beauty of that color. And it's so thin. And you're through it in an instant. And then he later said that when I look down to Mother Earth, that's life. And then when I look up to that darkness, that's death. Mother Earth, it's fragile. Save the planet. Wake up, everybody. This is the next psyop.
Yeah,
Well,
I did notice that part when he said that's death. It's like that's
beautiful.
funny because that's
really
that's where the people. Yeah, that's where these people all think they could save our lives and go to space, and that's where we need to venture out to save the planet.
Death.
But to him, William Shatner, that's death.
It's the only thing that's guaranteed in life, though, isn't it? So globers have to be obsessed with death because they know that they only live once, and there's nothing. They don't believe in the spiritual world. The only thing they believe in is death, and that's it. And that's something that all these atheists say. These atheists say this all the time to me. I used to say it when I used to argue this shit.
Tommy, he's saying that way's death, as in not.
Yeah, no, but
there's no life
about space,
that way. No, there's no life. Life's down there. No life the other way.
I think what's happening is Tommy's hearing what's being read out. No offense, Tommy, and you're interpreting the words as they are read, which is fine. But what the guys on the panel are doing, and I'm semi-bashing them for it, is reading between the lines.
Oh, it's all that's going on is the same that always goes on with the globe, right? Regardless of whatever way you want to take what Shatner is saying, the globe is nothing but disasters. There's always some asteroid coming to get us, or there's some explosion going to happen here that's going to blow everything up, the ozone layer, all this other rubbish. There's no end to this. The globe is no end to fear, is it? There's always a disaster where we live, and all this that we have here, this could all end in a moment. You know what I mean? There's
climate emergency.
Yeah, there's always that. It's always like, be afraid. That's all the globe is, isn't it? Be afraid. This could all end in a moment.
I think Nath, to
it's
address
a mindset.
the
It's a mindset.
reading into stuff, yeah,
mindset.
it's too much. It's too much, right? Let me just be a baller for a minute. And if I was a baller today, I'd be absolutely gutted, absolutely just distraught that Captain Kirk had gone to space and he hasn't come back and described the blue marble to me. That's what's surprising.
Exactly. I was
Good one,
waiting for
good
that,
one, Adam.
and I didn't hear any of that. No, oh my God, the curvature of the Earth is so beautiful. Blah, blah, blah. Nope, none of that.
I see.
Only how incredibly thin the supposed atmosphere is and how fast you could just fly right through it.
I get it. So you're saying it's not necessarily what he said or reading between the lines of what he said. It's seeing the emissions, what he hasn't said. Why hasn't he described Earth as a ball and the curve of the Earth and the space sky vacuum? Why hasn't he described it? Why has he looked up and seen death and seen life below? I get it. I get what you're saying.
No, because I want to pull back. I don't want to ask that question. Why hasn't he said or lead anything into it? I'm saying Red's rhetoric, yeah, Gem Panda, Fight the Flat Earth. They must have been sat there with their pen and paper, ready to write these quotes to shove down our faces. Deal with that, yeah. And what have they got? That's what I think's interesting.
Nada.
No.
You see, because Trump said he's going back to space, yeah. Maybe that's what they did, come in and shut Trump down with this coronavirus bullshit. Because Trump was on about going to Space Force and all this crap, weren't he? So obviously people just thought, no, he's going to fuck it up. He's literally coming to expose the world. He was always telling them what Corona was bullshit as well. Trump was the most honest one we've had. That's why he was so ridiculed. And that's what happens. Like, it's the same when I left the globe. You just get ridiculed so people don't take what you say seriously. But this guy's the only person telling the truth. And then he's telling you that coronavirus is bullshit. I've recovered it already. It's nothing. It's nothing.
You're
and then
all
they
over
just
the
fucking
place, Tommy.
stormed the fucking building and got him out of there and put this absolute fucking joker called whatever they got now, Joe, whatever his name is. It's ridiculous. Literally just happens right in front of your faces.
Okay, right. This is not a political debate, number one.
Did you spot today,
Number
Tommy?
two, we're talking about... I'm a little aghast, right, that, especially from you, Adam, I've got to be honest. So you have given this some consideration in terms of how much our opponents will take from something like this. I mean,
this afternoon, yes. I've not been pondering on it.
No, okay. No, that's fair enough.
Yeah, I like to say I've not even looked into it, other than, like I said, my mates texted me because look, the reality is it's Captain Kirk. That's the big thing, isn't it? It's not. It's Captain Kirk, and Shatner,
Exactly.
as alluded to, he's a little bit off script. He does speak his own mind, doesn't he? That's. I think the point I made is, yeah, if I am looking at it now as it's in the flat Earth realm, the only thing that I say is they must be absolutely gutted that Captain Kirk's not come back and proved the ball for him.
That's exactly what I said, Adam, at the beginning of this whole show. I said this marks the first time, to my recollection, that I've seen a post-interview not mention any curvature.
Interesting. Shout out to Murica, Silver Patriot, who says, is he a Mason? I assume you're talking about William Shatner. Don't know. Anybody know if William Shatner's a Freemason?
Okay, check it.
We'll have a look. Or Adam's on the case. Murica, thank you very much for the super chat. I don't know.
I would say Bobby is. Sorry, Tommy.
Who was that guy that told you should be afraid of the Freemasons, Nathan? What was that, unorthodox that time?
I think it was Wiggles. Maybe it was unorthodox.
Yeah, it was unorthodox.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Saying yep.
Yeah, I compared him to conspiracy cats because that's sort of the contemplation when you start to say, well, if I've been lied to about the nature of the Earth itself, then that would imply that there's other lies on a mass scale. And where does their brain take them? Well, it takes them to the Discovery Channel and Mark, whatever his name is, Dice talking about the Illuminati and all this kind of bullshit. Because that's what they've got in their arsenal. That's what they can pull from mentally when they start to do what we did at the start and everybody had to do at some stage, if they've got half a brain, which is contemplate the implications of a deception of this scale. Which is to say that, yeah, there's shitloads of other stuff that you could be lied to about, and you've got to suddenly go through it all and go, God, I was so thick. God, I can't believe I fell for that one. Oh, God, oh, God, oh, God. And you realise that the house of cards just actually tumbled down around you just by looking around you. Now, for someone who still wants to retain their globe faith, they're going to retain any presented to them by the mainstream explanations for a claim to be conspiracy in this regard. So they just latch on to whatever the telly told them in that regard. So the Illuminati, or whatever it is they want to be scared of, is what they immediately pull from. I mean, it's pathetic. It makes me chuckle, but that is the cognitive processing that you've got to go through to go, next step, I must be scared that the Illuminati are going to kick my door in. Oh, well, okay, if that's where your brain takes you.
I reckon Conspiracy Cats is amazing.
Okay. Why?
All right. Why?
Well, Ranty has said in the past that he had a Mason friend, and suddenly he was best pals with Conspiracy Cat, even before he supposedly switched back to the Lobe.
Yeah, he interviewed a
So
guy
I
that was a
reckon-
Mason. I didn't watch it personally. I'd fallen out with him by then, but he had a guy on that somebody alluded to having Freemason connections or being a Freemason under some voice changer or some shit like that. I'm pretty sure that's what you're referring to, though. I don't know about Conspiracy Cats. It's just a teacher.
Well, I don't know. I just get the feeling. I just got the way he operates and goes about things. And I spoke with him bits and pieces myself, and I just get the feeling that he is. That's
okay.
Do you know how I got onto a Conspiracy
Chris
Cats
Monk was a
channel?
Mason. I just don't
Remember
see
I
the
was in that
relevance.
Gem
Hold on,
Panda
Tommy.
server
Hold on.
for like
Just
5 years,
hold on, Tommy.
arguing.
Just one sec. But what's the relevance? So, in the reverse situation, we'd say, does it matter what his qualifications are? The argument that they present is relevant. And in the same vein, if you go, oh well, the guy's a Freemason, okay, does it matter?
No, I'm just saying. I don't like the only. It doesn't have any relevance to the argument, other than having Ranty do things and say stuff that we all know is not true. You know,
Well,
so
the thing about Freemasons, we interviewed one back in the day, Chad. I remember he's 32nd degree Mason. He's a flat earther, and he says most it's in there. Yeah, most of the lodges know. Once you get to the higher levels, that it's flat. There's a difference between how the common man views masonry and some of the ties. There's a difference, I think, because a lot of the stuff people are doing good, and the membership of that is often it's just to do good things. Do you know what I mean? Like this guy we interviewed, you know, there was none of the supposed stuff. You know, he's aware there are places where it goes off. The issue with them is the way they collude together against the society. But just to come back to Shatner. Can't find anything anywhere. I've ended up on Facebook. Somebody's asked the question, and there's no responses. Not to my knowledge. Does anyone know if William Shatner is a Mason? Just saw an old Star Trek episode, and he's made a Masonic reference. I found that, but that's the only other thing I could see linked between him.
That's
nothing negative.
When he's
or
playing a
positive.
character role, you can't really say, "Oh, well, he made a Masonic reference." So what? That doesn't
No,
make
but
him
that
a
was
Mason.
the only thing coming up in the Google search was that's come up twice that there's a reference to him mentioning it in Star Trek, but nothing with regards to him as a person.
Admiral Kirk is not the Freemason.
Well, if he was or it wasn't, it wouldn't really make any difference, as Brian just made clear, but there we go. If you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Primary Streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you. Smash the PayPal link, super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. Of course, a massive thank you to today's Discord and G+ panels for making today's live show possible. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on either Premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a day! What a lovely day!
And there was another time that the padding was out of his gloves. Is that true?
Sorry.
Are you asking
Tyson
Tommy?
Fury. I'm asking
Are you asking
anybody.
Tommy?
Has anybody
Yeah.
heard that? That he's been a cheater. That Tyson Fury got caught cheating in 2015. A certain way he wears his gloves. He has his knuckles on the wrist part.
Just listen, Tyson Fury is the greatest fighter, probably one of the greatest heavyweight in all history because of the fact that he's got everything. He's got chin, heart, he's got adaptability, fighting inside, outside. There's nothing that Tyson Fury can't do. You know what I mean? So you just can't put no one above him at the moment. Even like, as sad as it says, Muhammad Ali would struggle with Tyson. You know what I mean? It would be, you know, that he's just his
Did he
physicality,
get
his
caught
size.
cheating? Did he get caught cheating in 2015?
Oh, come off it, mate. Even if he did, it probably would have been something stupid. I've had boxing matches where I got into the ring, right? And everything's all good. And as I got into the ring, the person put the gloves on in the ring, and the glove he put on me had literally no padding in, and I punched the guy once and knocked him out.
That's what they accused him of also, that there was no padding in the glove. But how does that get by? Don't they check these things?
It just
How
happens.
would that
Look,
get by?
I never went out. I never went out my way to cheat. Yeah, but I got into a boxing fight. Went to the show. I got invited, and then as I got into the ring, they put these gloves on. And I just fucking thought, fucking, I was nothing in them. Like there's literally fucking no padding in them. I just fucking went bam, hit him on his head. You know, John Doody, knocked out John Doody in one punch, and it was like literally the bell went. I went through a right hand. That was it. And I didn't mean to cheat. What I did, you know what I mean?
What are we talking about?
You had no padding in your glove?
Yeah, I've had that happen to me. Yeah, the guy took they put the glove on me in the ring, or like on something like that. They put the glove on me. It just had nothing in there. It was a bit in there, but it was like compared to a glove the gloves that I'm normally used to boxing in. Nah, man, it definitely when I hit him, I felt my knuckle go off his head, and he went down. I can show you the video if you want me to post it.
So your corner was cheating then?
No, Neil, when it comes to professional boxing,
somebody wanted me to win it, but probably the promoter, because you know he paid me really well for that fight.
Well, the referee's supposed to check them, right? That's what they do before the fight, isn't it?
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
there you go.
I almost got into a fight on the way back here.
Hello.
No, Tommy.
Hello. Everyone's got a question to Tommy. Let him answer.
Your corner was definitely cheating.
Just let the cheating bastard answer. Hello.
Yeah, but if Tommy was ignorant to it, then he wasn't cheating himself.
Yeah, of course. What were we supposed to do then? The person who's put the gloves on me. I'm supposed to go to the person. Why have you put these dodgy gloves on me, mate? Like it's just it's just like fuck me, man.
No, I get that. I wasn't saying that Tommy was cheating. I was saying his corner was cheating, though. If he was able to feel it, I think his corner was cheating.
Maybe his opponent's gloves were the same.
Yeah, that's that fight. Look, I've just posted it.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, maybe the other guy's gloves are the same.
I'm gonna show. I'm gonna.
That was the best comment so far.
Oh, that's so funny.
I'm gonna send that short I seen.
Neil,
I'm gonna share the short that I seen. I like
Neil.
Tyson Fury. I don't want to believe that either.
No, Neil, all these gloves are handed out by the commission or whatever. They don't just get their own gloves or like that. When it comes to that level of, there's so much money and everything involved, and that pro level, like those gloves have to be identical to the opponent's gloves. You know, they can't even weigh them by saying everything. Like, I mean, that's a very strict process. So I would doubt, like, I don't see how, it's just people just throwing FUD at Tyson Fury. That's all it is.
Well, that's what I mean. But I'm just saying, I'm even admitting, yeah, as a boxer that's fought about 30 times that, you know, you just go there. You're so worried about winning your fight and focusing on getting the ring that everything happens so quickly. So by the time you get to that ring, right, if somebody puts a dodgy glove on you, what the fuck am I going to do? Start going like, you know, all I'm thinking about in my head is destroying my opponent. Do you know what I mean? I'm going into the ring fucking ready to win a fight in front of all my family and friends. So you're not really thinking. Do you know what I mean? At the same time, and everything's happening so quickly. The ref checks the glove. The ref said it's fine. But well, that's it, isn't it? It's nothing to do with me. I'm just part of the occasion. Do you know what I'm saying? and I'm focused on fighting at the moment.
Yeah, you're not responsible for it. You just turned up to do what you have to do, and that's it. Exactly.
Nathan, what's
I've been
this
stitched up many
boxing?
times when my opponents have had better gloves than me. I mean, last 4 free fights, if you check my gloves, they put me in these dodgy, shitty gloves that don't support your wrist. Every time you land a punch, your whole hand bends back, so you can't get no power in your punches because you ain't got no stability in the glove. And I've been stitched up with these gloves in literally every fight. Now I've got my own gloves. You saw my last fight. Just went in there and fucking destroyed him. Every punch I threw at him done damage because my wrist was supported. I had a proper professional glove on. Now, I've been fighting against people with shit gloves the whole time. So, you know, that's how oblivious I've been. I'll go in the ring with trainers on sometimes. You know what I mean? It's like no gum shield. I've gone in the ring with no gum shield.
Listen.
Corners took the gum shield out of my mouth. Like,
There
so much
are-
things happen in a boxing
I
match. You
shared
can't,
it.
you can't
Tommy,
blame
one second.
Tyson. Maybe one time had to probably cheating or because it happens to anyone.
1 second. I shared
there
the
are
video
some
in Master.
matches.
Listen, I shared the video in Master B. It's 59 seconds. Just watch it, and you'll see.
I just watched it, Neil, and Tommy, mate, great shot, and I think you should use horseshoes every time. It's a great plan.
Horseshoes.
He just dropped like a pudding, mate. Mate, it
Mate, every
doesn't
time I
really matter. It was a clean shot. I think for people to cry the glove. Yeah. What did you have on?
No,
Like I said, you didn't have
I
horseshoes
knew.
on.
I'm telling you, the
You
glove.
had a
No
set of
one
gloves.
noticed. Only I noticed the glove was just not right because I felt my knuckle clean got him off his head. And every time I've had a street fight, I've never hit somebody once and they've not go down. But with a glove, I mean, obviously you've got a lot of padding in there, and it kind of like impacted, but you stopped the knuckles from landing. And I've got very big knuckles, so you know, I felt to come off his head, and I thought, oh, and you can see the way, look, the way I sit around my hands all light, and I'm like shaking my hand because I'm feeling it. Like look at the way after I land the punch, you see me like feel like you put my hand behind my back, and you see me shake my hand slightly. You notice me shake my hand after, like when I put my palm behind, because I know that was like, oh, something clicked off his head there. Do you know what I mean? So like my hand goes back like naturally, like as my knuckle bounces off him, it just ricochets nicely, and my arm just comes back. And I shake it behind me because I'm feeling my hand and I'm thinking, fucking hell, my knuckle just went off his head. Do you know what I mean?
Listen, there's some grimy trainers that put baby powder in between the hand wrap. And as you sweat, that turns to freaking plaster. And they did that to that Puerto Rican kid, Margarita.
Oh,
He
yeah.
actually got caught, though. He got caught doing that. Who's that guy who did it to the Puerto Rican kid? He was champ at one time. Bald-headed guy. I forgot his name. I think middleweight.
Puerto Rican. What's his name, man? You on about? No, I forgot his name. Can't think.
He was good. He was Southpaw, I think.
Oh,
he
yeah.
fought him all. He fought Chick.
There's two of them at night. Is it the one at Koto, or is it? It happened to Koto as well, didn't it? And then there's another guy it happened to, which is it the one that fought? He's a young kid, isn't it? The Southpaw kid. He was in a film as well. He was in a film. I was watching the film the other day. I know you're on about. He got beat by Floyd Mayweather, didn't he? Because he headbutted Floyd Mayweather. Hello.
Yeah.
He headbutted Floyd Mayweather, yeah?
Yeah. I hear what you say. He fought Mayweather, Cotto.
Yeah, Koto fought him. Koto and the other one. I think there's two of them that have suffered them punishments from them dodgy gloves that you're talking about. Because Koto suffered
the other
it.
kid was in the 80s, and he got beat really bad. I mean, his whole face was busted up. That kid wound up committing suicide.
All right, Adam, don't let this play too much. Oh, there we go. Just let the... There we go. Go. Boom. Yeah, it's clean. Really
That's
clean
Tommy?
punch. Looked like to me. Didn't look like anything was wrong with that. You're saying the gloves look dodgy. They just look like gloves to me.
That actually looks like a punch that you'd see in a movie.
I was going to say, that looked like it would put any man in a hospital, Tommy. In all seriousness, Tommy.
Beautiful.
That looked really clean.
Just follows through. Look, good technique to me. I don't see.
It was a clean punch.
Skill.
But like I said, I knew there's something not right with that glove. Honestly, if you could get better quality on the camera, or if someone could take my glove off and examine it, you'd say, oh. And it was like pretty fucking bare, mate. You know, like I felt my knuckle clip off his head. Do you know what I mean? And you see me shaking my hand as I pull my hand back.
You got to be the most honest boxer I ever spoke to.
Whatever. If I threw that punch, I'd be like, yeah, it was really clean. Well, I don't know what to complain about in that, Tommy.
No,
I'm
it
saying
looks
that
like
the
you hit
glove
him in the
that
temple,
someone put me in a
Tommy.
glove,
That's
right?
probably-
Somebody put me in a glove because I come in the ring rapping, and when they put my gloves on in the ring, and I went to the referee checked my gloves. They were the gloves they put on me. When I landed the punch, I felt my knuckle clip off his head. So normally I don't. When I connect a punch, I'm hitting like I just felt my knuckle hit off his head, mate. You know what I mean? It was more like a bare knuckle fight, more like a bare knuckle punch. Because every time I've ever hit somebody like with my hand, one hand, they just drop. But like it felt like I got a good impact with I know the technique was right, but the actual glove itself, there was not much padding in it. Well, there was some in there enough to get past the referee's examination, but my knuckle got through, and I felt like it fucking clip him, and that's when my hand bounced
Maybe
back.
the punch was so hard that the cushioning inside the glove didn't really matter.
Maybe that's an
maybe it made you just made you think that it was like, well, maybe it wasn't too padded because I just punched the shit out of this dude's head. You know, maybe that's what it was, man. Because if you're saying the ref checked the glove, don't blame yourself. The ref checked the glove.
I totally agree with
You know?
Chocolate. I totally agree, Chocolate. Maybe you just Tommy.
Maybe the ref is in on it.
Maybe you're just underestimating your own ability.
I've had a lot of time where I've had shit gloves on, and my opponent's had like some really nice gloves, and it's literally every fight. If you look at my opponent's gloves, they've always got some nice custom-made gloves, and I'm in some fucking makeshift gloves that like fucking some yellow fucking shit gloves that have no support, and I can't punch properly in them.
So maybe you've just got maybe Tommy, and you just alluded to it. You've got the support in your wrist. So it's probably the first time the full power is transferred into the padding on the front of the glove, mate. It's called getting used to good gloves, I think.
Yeah, probably,
I won't be standing here calling myself a cheat because I'd thrown that. And I said, most importantly, as Chocolate says, refs check the gloves, mate. Yeah,
not a cheat. What I'm saying is, people that have never gone into a
more
boxing
where
ring,
you're hitting,
you can't say what. Hold on. What I'm trying to say is, you've never been to a boxing ring. It's not about cheating. You've got so many things that are happening in them events. Then there's so many ticket sales and like people that you're walking and talking around. There's so much things going on.
Tommy, just so I can draw a line under it. The point Tommy's trying to allude to is his point is that it's not just about the gloves. There's a lot going on. So while you're psyched up, you don't necessarily notice that you haven't got your gum shield in or whatever because there's a lot going on. This started with Tyson Fury, people being critical. Tommy's saying, no, in defense of him, you've got so much going on in such a short space of time. There's lots of noise. There's lots of stuff. You don't notice this. You might notice that. And then after the fact, you think about something that you haven't really noticed when it was going on anyway. And then you second guess yourself. In this case, I think that's exactly what's going on with Tommy. He maybe slightly consciously thought about the gloves because he's got shit gloves on. He hasn't got the nice gloves that his opponent's got on. So when he knocks the guy fucking clean out, he's like, could be the gloves. Nah, it's your fist that's done that, Tommy. You swinging through cleanly.
I think it's from where Tommy. I think it's where you hit him.
It really does.
I think you hit him on the temple. On the chin or on the temple. The chin underneath the mouth or on the temple. There are two places you'll knock someone out. Yeah, you knock someone out pretty fast with that. So
hit him on the button, that's for sure.
Imagine him with the feint and then just landed a clean right hand because the feint obviously set the back hand up and it just was just picked a perfect clip.
But a bit of extra padding was not going to help the guy.
No, that's exactly right. Correct. It's a bit of extra padding. The guy would still be on his ass, Tommy. So I don't think you should be second guessing yourself.
Okay then. Well, yeah, I think I'm just trying to say that people that say that these people cheat. I think that they're so, like I said, yeah, you're training all the time. You're trying to find. You're watching videos of different fighters. You're trying to work on your career. You're balancing your life. There's just to be a boxer and to get into the ring. There's so much going on. But I don't think that Tyson Fury is a cheater. I think maybe in some scenarios he's probably been against it. In some scenarios you've probably come up and you've got a little maybe something in favour. Maybe I've got better gloves or not. And that's not really down to the fighter. He doesn't go in there thinking, I hope I get my cheating gloves on. Like, that's a cheater. That's somebody that actually goes out of the way to think, right, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to make sure you put the gloves on me. And he knows what's going on. Because I don't think that fighters do. Sometimes their head is, you're dealing with your nerves. You're dealing with probably some scenario that's happening right before you go out at your fight. Or something's happened and you have to switch it off and you have to focus on your fight. You never know what someone's going through. So just call him a cheater. I don't think that Tyson Fury is a cheater at all.
Well, no. The only comparison I've got is when I've listened to people in the gaming community talking about why they've cheated, and it's typically not for the reasons you might suspect. So it's normally people like Tyson that are at the top of their game, but they're frustrated with a barrier that's getting in their way to stopping them getting to a destination that they want to achieve. So in video games, it's normally the case that it's a time restraint or a luck restraint, and there's just something precluding them getting to where they want to be, and therefore they cheat. So you normally look at the circumstances surrounding the event and say, well, is there a motivation for what could be a perfectly reasonable guy under most circumstances to be pushed to cheat? Now, if that's the case, then yeah, you go, well, let's look at it from all these different aspects. But one of them, the gloves, you're like, really? Really? Okay. We're going to look at it from that perspective, especially when it's the only person with you, Tommy, when you make it your example in this case. You know, you're the only person giving the account. And like I say, most people around you are like, meh. Nobody's even concerned because it's ultimately not your responsibility. I don't know if it was Adam or Brian that said it. It's like, the ref checked the gloves. That's it. Your responsibility is over. Now, further to that, people are involved. Are people deceptive shits? Yeah. Are there enough deceptive shits in boxing for there to be dodgy shit going on occasionally? Yeah. That is true with absolutely any walk of life ever. So, yeah, because there's dodgy people, yeah, that means there's going to be dodge that you can find if you look hard enough. So what? Does that mean that the man in the ring's intentionally putting on horseshoes? No.
Well, then that the fault of that is the boxer. You should make sure if you're concerned about that, and it seems like Wilder was, then he should have made sure that those gloves were checked and everything was legit.
Exactly.
If not, then it's
That's
your
what
own
your
fault.
corner's for. That's your corner's job. Your corner's job is to do that. It's not no one else's job but your corner. So there's so much going on. You can't hold everyone accountable and everyone should just play fair. The teams have to look after themselves. That's how it works.
Do you supply the gloves?
No. At the event, I'll just show up. I'm just show up to fight, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like this, like that's about it.
But
All you're thinking about is your fight.
Your own gloves that you bring with you and use.
Some people do. Some people bring their own gloves. Yeah. So a lot of fighters are more organised than me. But like I said, like Tyson Fury, he's got a very similar character to me. I think he's Leo. I think he's fucking mentally fucking brilliant and also crazy but he's good. He's got good values, etc. But he's upset a few people in the past. But he's now the fucking probably the best ever to do it. And that's amazing.
He is the gypsy,
because
though,
I don't think there'll be a heavyweight that will have all the attributes that Tyson Fury has had, and he's been able to display it against, a good dancing partner in Deontay Wilder. But unfortunately, there's no one else that's really going to put. I don't think Joshua has a chance, but in hell against someone like Fury. I used to think that I used to think completely opposite though, because I was retarded. I think watching Joshua's performance though, I can't be a fan of him anymore, because if you're 8 rounds down and you've lost 8 rounds against your opponent, Usyk is running away with this fight and taking all your titles. You just have to stop trying to do the 1-2 to the body and stand up looking pretty and stiff and stop being a little fucking ponce and fight. Absolutely fight your heart out. You're getting paid millions of pounds and you're 8 rounds down, you absolute pussy. I can't deal with that mentality, to stand there and be such a conformist little bitch and just stick to the instructions of what your corner's saying after 8 rounds down. Oh, God, it gets me so angry. I can't deal with it. I just can't be a fan of him. I can't, how can Anthony Joshua do that? That's a loser.
I hope you're successful, Tommy, and one day somebody refers back to this conversation as an example to others, which is to say that, I can only give it from a YouTube example, which is to say you don't need all the equipment and all the swanky microphones and all the skills in the world. You just need to actually pick up your phone and do it and actually get on with it. And you're the same. You're like, did you have gloves? You're a boxer. No. I had my fists. I turned up with them and waited to see what happened, and then I fought someone. That's how it went down, right? Yeah. In other words, you were there to fight. And what do you need? Well, what are your tools again, Tommy? Can you name them?
My fists.
Right.
Man,
you had them, didn't you? They weren't left at home.
The whole bean. The whole bean. But I love boxing's brilliant. I think everyone's really getting, MMA is it has a few flashy people, but it's still not as good to watch as boxing. Bare knuckle boxing is pretty good, but it's still not quite boxing finesse, because you can't get the depth. There's so much academies and so much history and so much good families, 2nd generation families, 3rd generation boxing families, 3rd generation world champion boxing families. There's so much in-depth gyms and things to learn from boxing that it's just transcended into probably the only noble sport that 2 men can contesting in a display that people can enjoy and earn the most money from, and just better everyone's life, and also to show people there's an outlet for violence. If you have sometimes people have a dispute, right? And verbal disputes, are verbal, but sometimes it's nice to have a physical dispute, a physical fucking debate. And that's what I love. I love going in there and fighting people, and it's an outlet. It's better than me if I'm. It's good for the training. It's good for people's careers. It can be also devastating. People can get there's tragics that can happen and that, but with everything, there's always a double-edged sword too.
I think getting to hit something at full force is something that's needed sometimes. Because, I didn't box people, but, I would train like a boxer. And I tell you, when I was stressed out, I would get home and hit the bag that I had in my house. It was the most beautiful feeling to just hit it and let everything go,
and not get hit back, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, if I had to fight somebody else, that's fine. But I'm just saying, letting steam off is something that I think a lot of people need to do.
It was great, but if I got really pissed off, eventually, I literally would damage my boxing the sack. But I had a small one, and it really ended up trashing it.
In the interest of balance, yoga is also beautiful, followed by a little bit of knitting.
I can imagine you going medieval on it. Just get the axes out and chopping it up. Fuck it, no.
That gives a whole new meaning to
pictures.
I do my boxing verbally against trolls.
Check out how offended 10th man is that his pun hasn't made it through that chaos.
10th trying to get a pun out.
10th was supposed to present something straight after the show.
Excuse me, this is an outrage. There's a pun lying out there.
That's right. The knitting is the best way to sock it to him.
Oh, Arwen, you bastard.
Sock it.
Say again.
I thought you were going to say stitch
Arwen, I'm sorry. Yeah. Arwen, I'm sorry, but you boxing just envision.
No, I'm not any good at boxing. My wrists are not good for that.
That's fascinating. Thank you. So I'm assuming that both Neil and 10th are now waiting in the wings for this crap conversation to end between you and Mr. Fuzzy Mike Neil.
I've been trying to look for an excuse to end it for
I'm waiting.
Kiwi's online too.
Yeah, I'm waiting because I don't want to hear anything about talking about food, any flack about talking about food on my show.
In the intro, in the first 10 minutes, we are 1 hour, 43 minutes into this show talking about a bit of boxing. That's just a demonstration of how limited the resources of the fundies to attack what we put down is. So we've got time to talk about boxing and audio quality sometimes. But at the beginning of the show,
food. Now I'm hungry, John.
That's thanks to you, John.
At the beginning of the show, talking about this, no.
Yeah.
Does it matter what time in the show it is if time is just the concept?
Yes, very, very important. If you've got the slightest handle on YouTube statistics, it's critical.
Well, food creates energy. Energy may be influenced by the bending of space-time if that were real.
Look, we're talking about YouTube stats. Right, look. It's so important that the warm-up part of the show doesn't pollute the main part of the show, I split it, a great effort, into the pre-show and live show, so that by the time the live show starts, the actual content gets rolling, so that someone who clicks on it gets introduction, show. Not introduction and fluff for 45 fucking minutes. I mean, come on, you're not really going to fight... Pure fluff.
I like QE's introductions. I enjoy all that.
It's Betty's fault.
Pure
I think
fluff.
the audience like it too.
Yeah, it's pure fluff.
His graphics and all that, all his mad graphics and all his laughs and that get a bit repetitive sometimes.
No. We're talking about his live show. Right. He did a live show and just waffled on with his guests for 45 straight minutes about food.
That's all your fault, John.
At one stage, right, I attempted to appeal to Mitchell. I thought he's the new guy. He's going to be taking this seriously. I was like, from the chat, Mitchell, come on, you've got to step in. You've got to do something about this. Bring this back on track. So what does Mitch do? He comes on the mic on the live show and says, Nathan's really enjoying this conversation, says we should talk about it a lot more. I'm like, you bastard.
He gets it. Mitchell is ace.
Yes, that drew a nice close to the boxing talk. It was fun, though, while it lasted. Good to have
Tent Man
Tommy.
had something he wanted to present, but you stopped him presenting because you finished 4 minutes early. And he was going to present it just after the live show, but nobody allowed that to happen.
Is he going to put another shrimp on the barbie?
My watch is fast. I've got a wind-up watch, and it does gain time. Damn it. Yes, I did end early. My bad. I'll put my watch back.
Tans, this is your cue. You're on mute.
Oh, yeah, I was just waiting. Thank you, Brian. Yeah,
No worries.
I put the link in Master B. Overwhelmed is from People Magazine. Overwhelmed William Shatner tears up as he takes first steps back on Earth after space flight. So I watched the whole thing.
Me too.
I watched the whole.
Sorry.
All right, you want to finish it or what?
I'm just really enthusiastic about this subject too, but I'll be muted.
Shut up.
Go ahead, Tenth.
All right. Well, when you watch the whole thing, you hear the audio without break. Here, they've got segments of it. If you scroll down just from the top, it says, Shatner teared up as he expressed his belief that all humans should experience the wonders of space travel, which he was not in space. It was suborbital, but everybody in the world needs to do this, Shatner said. Everybody in the world needs to see. And then below the picture, putting the impact of his experience into words, Shatner reflected on how quickly the world as we know it can be ripped away and how precious life is. He's segueing here, folks. To see the blue color of the sky go rip by, and now you're staring into blackness. That's the thing. The covering of blue, this sheet, this blanket, this comforter of blue that we have around us, we think, oh, that's blue sky. And then suddenly you shoot through it, all as if you rip off a sheet while you're asleep. And you're looking into blackness, he recalled. He didn't see stars. He said he saw the moon go by in another segment. You look down, there is Mother Earth. Comfort. And up there, is there death? Question mark. I don't know. Is that the way death is? Question mark. Whoop. And it's gone. Geez, it was so moving. He continues, this experience is something unbelievable. And then he says, brimming with emotion, Shatner thanked Bezos for his aerospace company and for giving him the most profound experience. I hope I never recover from this. I hope I can maintain what I feel now. I don't want to lose it. It's so much larger than me, he continued. It has to do with the enormity and the quickness and the rudeness of life and death. What I would love to do is communicate as much as possible the jeopardy, the moment you see the vulnerability of everything. It's so small. This air, which is keeping us alive, is thinner than your skin. Really. It's a sliver. It's immeasurably small. When you think in terms of the universe, he shared, I am overwhelmed. I had no idea. You can keep reading if you want, but this is the biggest psyop for climate change.
Oh, come on. He did not freaking mention the word.
This is the biggest psyop for climate change I ever heard.
No, not climate change at all. He was talking about freaking science fiction, man. He that guy gets it.
Yeah,
no
but
climate change bullshit. Absolutely
Yes,
not.
he was. Yes, he
yeah,
was. Save
the
the
powers
planet.
to be, the powers to be will use it for that. He will use
Of
it
course
for what
they
he
will.
wants. Well, then be
He
quiet.
didn't mention it though.
Oh,
He
Mother
didn't say
Earth,
it.
it's fragile. The thin
You're
air.
being a fanboy, Arwen. You're being a fanboy.
Yeah, no, yeah, I am a fanboy. That's damn right. And he didn't say climate change a single time. Just because you say Mother Earth and vulnerability, it
Okay,
is.
we
It
heard.
is.
Yes,
In the
okay,
heliocentric
okay,
model, that's
okay.
what it is.
Hold on.
Then I
Hello?
just freaking
Hello?
make a statement without everybody rolling over it for crying
We heard
out
it
loud,
'cause
man.
it's the second time we were hearing it. We heard the first
been
time.
doing that all
Thank
day.
you, Chocolate.
All
We heard-
day. This is the
Thank
first
you,
time I'm
Arwen.
freaking
Hello,
speaking up.
trying to get some control. Yeah, we heard. We get it. He did not say that. You said it twice, and everyone started stepping all over you. Right. Well, he didn't say it. However, there's no way you can deny it was implied. That's what Tenth's saying. If you want to defend that it wasn't implied, you'll have a struggle. It's just not. He didn't say it. You're right.
Right. He was just visualizing the heliocentric view of the Earth, but he also paid very careful attention to what he perceived during the launch. He wasn't just sitting in his seat feeling all smug or something. No, he was actually interested.
You are actually a fanboy.
He had
Yes.
to say. He said, "Save the planet." For
Yes,
what?
so what?
Climate emergency?
No, from fanatical anti-globism. How about that?
Didn't say that.
Wow.
I know he didn't say that.
Okay, so
That's
can we
just
move?
another suggestion.
Can we move on? Thank you, Tenth. Epic.
Don't
Nice.
destroy the dream.
Nice to be up to date with what's going on with William Shatner. Thank you all very much. Now, on to Susan Sarandon. No?
What?
Why can't we have this? Why can't we do this?
hysterical,
We had to
Nathan.
talk about boxing for an hour. Why can't we talk about this when this actually is much closer to our hearts? Why can't we just have this
We can.
discussion?
We did.
The only reason I think we talk boxing is because it's just a
But why do we have to cut it
break
off
for you
then?
guys, because I feel like,
Oh,
I feel like you
talk
guys
an hour
always
for
talk about the same
boxing.
things
Why
over
can't
and
we
over
talk
and
about
over. And
this?
sometimes it's good to hear like something else talk about. I never intended to talk about boxing, but things just usually take that turn. 'cause
It's not.
It's an interesting
I'm not
thing
blaming
in
you,
sport.
dude.
I
No,
am.
people
not
have
blaming
I wonder
you.
why you got.
I completely
I
blame
wonder
Tommy
why
for
you
this.
got so offended when I told you what I did to William Shatner at a restaurant. Now I understand why. Fanboy.
Dude, he pretty much single-handedly started the futurism revolution, man.
Okay.
And he thinks he thinks that too, by the way. He has like a big ego, but I think he deserves it. Dude, he's freaking 90 and he's still healthy. That's an accomplishment alone.
His greatest work was Saturday Night Live. That skit he did. Oh, epic.
Ooh, yeah. Good times.
I'm still straight on whether you're even putting these people on giant penises they call rockets anyway. Personally, I don't believe that crap.
What? Which
I
bit of
don't
it?
see why not.
Which bit of it don't you believe? You don't think they did the journey at all?
I don't think in the way they showed it. I don't think they put people in these rockets, man. Giant penises. I don't think they're putting people in these things.
The rockets
Can I
back in
just
the
hear,
day,
hello,
maybe.
hello, Chocolate,
Well,
right
they
in the
don't-
middle.
they
Hello,
don't need to.
hello, Chocolate's right in the middle of his thought. I just want him to expand a little bit on it. Just let him. Go ahead, Chocolate.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty much the thought. I don't think that they put people on these rockets.
They just make it look like it's like a little magic trick, innit? Like they what you see them
Yeah.
walking in, and you think, oh look, they're going in.
Yeah.
And they just slide down the
I
rocket
don't think
underneath
so.
it.
I
and
don't
they
think
just
so either.
slide down in that big, that thing that pulls away. That thing that pulls away probably pulls the astronauts out. Like when it pulls away from the rocket. That big massive thing that they got attached to it. That's like
what
the
I-
escape
that's
chute.
what
So
I'm
the people
saying.
fall down into that.
An actor.
And like you know, like you, and when I watched the thing fall out from the sky, the satellite thing that was recovered, and it was in the water, and there's 2 people in it, and they recovered it on a boat, and they didn't get the people out for like about an hour. I was watching the live stream, and they was like hosing it down and trying to get all the chemicals off it, and just taking that extreme precaution. I was thinking, and on it's just landed in, it's just come from space. There's nothing in there apparently. Yeah, landed in the water. Yeah, it's been in salt water for like about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. You pull it out of the water, and you still need to give it another hour to get air off it, like because it's already been in the water for like 20 minutes, half an hour. Like it's clean. Just open the fucking thing and get them out of there. But then you have to like make a sleight of hand and get the astronauts to come back into the thing. That's why they take so fucking long to open it. Oh no, we just have to go through procedures. You know, there's things out there in space. Oh, we just have to. It's just fucking cameras and action and just set up. So they're making sure there's no way that you can determine that these people didn't come from where.
Sure.
Yeah, but the big difference though is you get a clear, direct view, very close up of the freaking windows, and you can actually see people moving in there before the launch. So, and yeah, of course, that does still leave open an option for trickery.
Come on, Aaron.
Yeah, no,
Come on.
Guys.
Oh no, it must
Hello,
all be fake.
hello,
Every
hello,
part is
hello,
fake.
hello,
Every part is fake.
hello. Can everyone just shut up for a second? Just let Arwen respond. Let him get the full point in response out. Go ahead, Arwen.
Yeah, I think that in the past there has absolutely been trickery with preposterous setups that are way too lethal to actually do that for real, right? That doesn't mean that this is faked. There's a constant camera view up close of the thing into the windows. You can actually see people moving in there. I think they actually did do it for real. This is just a very expensive ride.
Yeah, I'm sold.
Yeah, no, they don't need to do it. They already have high altitude planes since way back in the 60s. They don't need to have rockets going up. They can put people in the high altitude planes and send them up there.
Who's talking about need? This is a ride. A
Hold
ride.
on.
You can't fake a ride.
Hold
If you
on,
want to
but-
get paid for a ride, you actually got to provide a ride.
Thank you. Yes, that doesn't necessarily mean the ride that you see on camera is the ride that they got, though, is the point. Right, Brian, what were you saying?
Yeah. Yeah, they have high altitude planes since the 60s or 50s, maybe, I don't know. But they have high altitude planes since then. Like the
Blackbird.
X-15, that was super high altitude.
Right. Bosch together in
SR-72.
Yeah, Bosch together in no time as well. The SR-72 Blackbird was Bosch together in no time, right?
Well, the SR-72, well, yeah. Well, I mean, the thing about this, they have these things. I mean, all they'd have to do is modify one of the SR-72s, and they could have passengers on it. You know, like, how do you know how high up they are? You're not going to go up there and be able to verify it, are you? You know, and the people in it wouldn't even know. Even if they knew that it was a joke, they still wouldn't know how high up they are. They could say they're up there 200,000 feet, 100 or whatever height they want to say. You know what I mean? 100,000, 200,000. You can't tell any difference. You know, they don't need rockets. It's like satellites. They don't need satellites. They have stars. You know what I mean? They don't need satellites. They already have stars to trilaterate your position. Same thing, isn't it?
So the SR-71, I vaguely remember it being claimed to get up to about 80 and 90,000. How high were they claimed to get have got in this penis rocket?
I'm not sure how high they've claimed to get up to that in the penis rocket.
Anybody know?
They said this went above the Kármán line, whatever that is.
Yeah, I caught that one too. So this one did supposedly go into space. Did the previous launch not go into space? I can't recollect how high that one was supposedly
so
going.
they didn't go up there. They couldn't have gone past the Kármán line because it doesn't exist. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I said they said they went above the Kármán line. Yeah.
Because there was an altitude meter. They did go up pretty high according to the numerics.
Well, how high? That's what I'm asking. I'm now looking it up.
300,000 feet.
330,000 feet. That's what I've got. Is that correct?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, 66 miles.
66 miles
Okay,
high. Okay, got a number.
May I say something? The Richard Branson version isn't the origin version. It's a plane, and that went up, and I'm looking at it, 55 miles. So that didn't have to be launched.
Well, high altitude balloons don't make it past about 21 to 24 miles up. They can't because of the air pressure. They can't do it. So in an airplane, right? This is the problem. In an airplane, the average internal air pressure is 11 to 12 psi, not the usual 14.7 average we have here. Now, I'm not saying it's always 14.7 exactly where you stand on Earth, but that's the average, right? But the reason they have 11 and 12 psi, mostly 11 on commercial airliners, is because if they have a higher psi inside there, then the structure of the plane will start having structural problems because the internal pressure will be too different from the external, so it will want to escape. But you have to have enough air pressure for people inside to live and breathe. So they have the cabin pressure for the passenger is about 11 or 12 psi. So it's lower than what we're used to, but it's not so high that it will cause structural problems to the 747 or whatever, right? Because they're going to be up in a lower pressure area. So whatever they're flying up there, right, no matter what it's made of, if it's got a higher, way higher internal pressure than the external, then entropy is going to cause whatever it is to have serious structural problems. And that would be our number one problem. You know, there's no way they're going up 60 miles. This has never happened. There isn't a 60 miles. They're not doing that. They're going up pretty high, but they're not going up that high because they have to have a certain amount of internal pressure. But if the external pressure is 10 to the minus 1 torr, how can they have a 14.7 or even a 12 psi inside? They can't. There'd be no holding that. You understand what I mean?
And the materials aren't strong enough to hold a 11 psi pressure in a cabin that's capable of sustaining life for any period of time in a 10 to the minus 1 torr vacuum. You're saying that's not possible?
Well, if you look at if you look at a submarine, right? Look at what a submarine is made of. Now, they don't deal with that kind of pressure differential. Submarines travel mostly at 30 feet below the waterline. They will go down to 60 feet, but most of the time, submarines are no lower than 60 feet below the water, and mostly it's at 30 feet. Right? Because even when a submarine has to deal with serious pressure differentials, because none of these things are built as heavy as a submarine. So when they're dealing with much, much worse, much more extreme pressure differentials, because I don't care what the thing is made of, you can make it out of titanium, entropy will take place. You know, so that would be my argument against them in the first place.
You ever seen what a bird could do to a plane?
Yeah, because that's true.
I've had pilots tell me after I marshaled the plane back into the ramp. I've had pilots tell me, yeah, it was a bird, and half the nose of the plane's like destroyed. And he's just like, yeah, it was a bird. It's just like, what? That's insane.
As you're on the mic, Chocolate, just to speak to your point earlier. So certainly with the shuttle, the Russian equivalent was perfectly capable of taking off from the ground, doing its stuff and coming back. It's an aeroplane, just like the shuttle. And the shuttle, I suspect, and Dilly Gill would allude to this also in his videos, was no different. It's just an aeroplane. But you've got to have a bit of a spectacle. So they create a half-scale model, strap it to a couple of fireworks and fire it up into the sky. And then you've got this magical spectacle of it taking off. Now, that's not to say that they don't just launch the aeroplane, they just take it off, because what, they've told you that it has to be strapped to rockets to go up? That you believe that it has to? Well, that little switcheroo is a well-rehearsed, well-orchestrated, and executed for a long time plan. Why would it be any different? Now you've got a paid actor to come along, who's well-respected, and you just do the exact same thing. You launch up a half-scale model for the public to watch from a distance, carefully calculated, and they watch the penis fly into the sky, highly dangerous on a firework. The reason I immediately prick my ears at chocolate is because of that. Would you strap 90-year-old veteran, well-loved guy to a firework, potentially blowing him up in front of millions of public fans?
Yes.
Nope.
No, you don't do that. No, definitely not. People have got
If it
stunt
is his
doubles when
last wish,
they're being paid, as opposed to the eluded truth of this, which is he's paying them. Yeah? When actors are being paid, they have stunt doubles and such. Even he has stunt doubles. But what, they're going to strap him to a firework, light it, and send him into the sky? No. Much better to send a half-scale model up for the public to watch and go, ooh. And Arwen's like, oh, you can see in the windows. Yeah, we don't even need to go there, Arwen. I'm pretty sure that your rage and anger at everyone pointing out that, yeah, just because you like the idea of them.
Boo!
Yeah, fine. We've passed that bit, though. Yeah, we've passed that bit. Anyway, my point is that you just stick him on an aeroplane, take him up, and then dump him out. Much, much, much safer.
That's terrible.
I understand the implications of that meaning would mean that he's lying, but he's an actor, right?
Yeah,
I mean, he can come, supposedly, quote unquote, come back down and share the same experience as somebody who's just gone really, 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 really high, right? I think any of us would have that experience if any of us got that high, right? So I'm not saying that he's lying about the experience, but how the experience was played out, I don't think happened, because I don't think they put 90-year-old William Shatner, Captain Kirk, in a penis rocket and sent him up there. That's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. I don't know.
Well, this creates a quandary.
You think his insurance companies don't allow him to do that?
Hold on.
What if he just said, I am going to do that?
Hold on. Just let Arwen get his point. Yes, insurance would be horrendous. Correct, Arwen. But moving on.
Yeah,
Adam, go
but
ahead.
also, he is a character, and he does things that everybody else don't want him to do, and he does it anyway. He's a character. He would do that.
Yes.
He would risk it.
Okay. Chocolate pointed out earlier, I tried to get in and say the same thing, which was someone in the chat also called Nathan, said it during the live show, because there was a discussion going on. I just put the chat up, put my mouse and circled him saying exactly that. We do appreciate this guy's an actor, right? In the most literal sense, he's not only an actor, he's an actor that goes to space when he's an actor. Yes.
He's also a singer, by the way. Don't forget
Thank you, fanboy. Adam, go ahead.
Now, I think my point has probably been just made. I was going to say to Chocolate, the trouble with that, Chocolate, is it would imply that Shatner is lying about how he got up there, which is going to cause serious cognitive pain for Arwen, which he then duly obliged. Do you love him that much, Arwen? I'm really shocked at this. It's freaking me out.
I think he's a legend. I like what he does. I like his acting. I like his passion for the dream, because William Shatner is one of the first people to actually recognize that science fiction is like a dream we're all upholding. And he's very inspired when he talks about it. And he's been doing that for half a century, people.
So at the beginning, I raised the point, and Chocolate said it again. How does a 90-year-old man take the G-forces of a rocket takeoff, you see? That was my question. How that used to be for the fittest and the best. And like I say, I don't think there's a problem in coming down in a parachute. But as for the first bit, I think that'd be rather dangerous for somebody that age.
Yep.
You're not allowed on a roller coaster, for example, at that age.
Yeah, unless you pay enough, right? And I think that William Shatner really, really wanted to do this. Personally,
he was a guest. He didn't pay.
So he's going to pay to make people look the other way when it concerns the risk. I think he really wanted to do this before he died.
Well, the official...
God,
the
this
official...
is sickening.
The official... Oh, gosh.
Sickening. You're all a bunch of stupid flat earthers. You don't get the dream.
The official narrative is that he didn't pay. He was asked as a guest. That's the official narrative. Now, again, this is the first time I could recall that someone is said to have gone that high, and the first thing out of their mouth isn't, I saw the curvature of the earth. This is the first time that didn't happen. Now, I take notice of that because all the other ones were meant to push that narrative. But this time, they pushed another narrative. How fragile the Earth is, how thin the atmosphere is. Mother Earth, wake up.
Oh no, I talk about those things too. I just don't fall directly into that railroad narrative that's kind of pre-constructed for religious fanaticism and all that with Gaia and that nonsense, right?
Did I say Gaia, or did I just quote unquote read what he said?
Yes, you did.
Thank you.
And I explained, yeah, I get it.
Arwen, how do you look past entropy with your belief?
What?
How do you do that? How do you look past entropy?
How do you strawman me with a very bizarre question?
Because you're claiming that Shatner did this thing. That means he had to breathe. That means the outside pressure would have to be ridiculously different from the inside pressure.
What are you talking about?
Well, you're saying Shatner went up in this thing, right? Up to a high elevation, a high altitude, right? But for that means he has to breathe, right? He has to be able to breathe and function. Otherwise, he'll go unconscious if the pressure goes too low. So,
I'm pretty sure the capsule is very well insulated. Like, it's not gonna leak. And they probably
I'll bring it back to submarines then. Submarines, is it as built as heavy as a submarine?
Well, submarines are very different because they are in exactly the opposite type of circumstances. They have to endure extreme pressure instead of depressurized situations.
Well, no, they have structural problems. Submarines have structural problems because the air inside the submarine wants to get out because of the pressure on the outside, the lower pressure on the outside.
No. What Arwen's saying, let's just clear this up. What Arwen's saying is your pressure that you pressurize the submarine with is withstanding the pressure on the outside trying to get in. So you're trying to balance out extra pressure that's external to the capsule. Whereas in terms of what they're describing when they go up to the very thin air, you're saying at 10 to the minus 1 torr, it's the polar opposite, according to Arwen, where you've got the structure has got to just withstand the internal pressure trying to get out. That's the higher rate that you're trying to fight against, as opposed to the water pressure trying to get in. So it's
exactly.
Yeah, but I'm speaking about air. The air inside the submarine, right? That's one of the main things they have to take into account when they're building a submarine, is the fact that the air wants to get out and get up and out of the water. Right? When they're building a submarine, that's part of the reason why the submarine.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So I see from that perspective, you're saying it's yeah, you're right. It's the same then, because in terms of what the actual forces that the capsule's experiencing, regardless of how high or low it is outside, you've still got the pressure of the air trying to get out. Doesn't matter which circumstance you're in, submarine or sky vacuum claim, you've still got the pressure inside trying to get outside. That's the bottom line, right?
That's right.
Yeah, that's why on airplanes they have to. That's why you end up with. That's why I reckon. That's why you end up with flight sickness, because you're in lower pressure, because they have to keep the pressure lower. They have to keep it at 11 or 12 psi as opposed to the usual 14.7 you're used to. They have to keep it at that because the structure of the plane, to get the plane up there, they have to have it built the way it's built. If they built it too heavy, they won't be able to get, of too much steel, they won't be able to get it up there. So they can't build it of very heavy steel. They have to build it of aluminium and stuff. So the problem they have is that if they have an internal pressure of 14.7 inside that cabin, right, and this is only at 5 and 6 miles up, if they have an internal pressure at 14.7, they'll have structural problems because that 14.7 will be too different from the outside pressure. So how are they stopping? Like when they're claiming to go way above that, that would mean the pressure would be really low. So even if you talk about 21 miles up, we are talking about around 0 or 10 to the minus 1 torr maybe at 22 or something miles up, something like that. Then, I mean, the internal pressure, like even if that's the internal pressure, like how low would that have to be? Like, do you know what I'm saying? How low would the internal pressure have to be, and what would the thing have to be made of to stop that internal pressure from equalizing with the
That's
external?
aerospace materials, but who's to say that the pressure is actually that low there, right? What is the
we
actual
have.
pressure?
Hold on.
outside?
Hold on.
but you
Arwen's
can-
question is akin to Brian's point. You know, you can't. He started this by saying, "Well, that isn't a place you can go. It isn't a place that's real." So they definitely didn't go there either. Is how Brian's starting this. So when you're saying, "Well, how low do you have to go?" Well, Brian started this off by saying, "Well, I don't think that's a place that can go at all."
Yeah, well, I mean, we know from a helium. If I want to send up a weather balloon, I have to. I only partially fill it with helium, because I know that when it gets to 20 and 22 miles up, it's going to be expanding out so much because the helium inside wants to get out and equalize with the pressure outside, because the pressure is so low. So in an airplane, you have to keep a lower pressure cabin pressure for the passengers than normal. They have to keep it at 11 and 12 psi instead of 14.7, because otherwise it'll cause structural problems to the plane, because the internal pressure will want to get out too much. So they have to work the internal pressure off of the external pressure.
And they just
I
make
think
it.
you're overestimating the influence of the pressure differentials. They got that sort of thing covered with modern materials.
Exactly. They use adamantium these days, and it's much tougher than aluminium or carbon fiber. You know, you just need to use adamantium.
Materials, plastics and carbon fiber. It's really light, very sturdy, very flexible, etc. Right?
Yeah, adamantium would be too heavy.
Unobtainium.
Adamantium.
That's wrong, chocolate. No, if you spread it out to 0.1 millimeter, it's actually really light and very strong.
Like gold foil, but
Like
adamantium.
foil. I'm pretty sure the lunar landing.
How do they squish
Really
the
my joke.
material to become that thin, though? It's so hard.
Look, they checked out whether or not adamantium foil worked on the lander for the moon, didn't they? It was covered in adamantium foil.
The moon lander.
How
that
did they-
explains.
how did they
Now
rivet
it's
these things
finally
together?
possible.
What did the rivets use? And what did they use with how did they rivet these things together? Or did they just mold the whole thing like an Apple MacBook
Zippers,
out of
man.
one solid piece?
Well, they just pour it. So adamantium's kept very warm. You know, you have to keep it very, very hot. And then you pour it, and then it forms. You don't have to rivet anything. And it's really thin. You know, the guys, when they said that they could poke their fingers through the structure, you know, that's just because it was made of adamantium. Doesn't mean
No,
they can-
you got it wrong. No, adamantium is actually it's partially a chemical reaction, because when it's liquid, it's not super hot, not that hot, but as soon as it solidifies, it undergoes a chemical reaction, so it cannot be molten again. Otherwise, it would not be as tough and hard as it is.
Yeah, that's
Right?
dependent on the pressure it's under. So, yeah, you don't know everything about adamantium at all.
I paid attention during X-Men, dude.
Yeah, and they didn't even mention the pressure it was under, did they? What pressure was it under in those vats?
No, but that's not really relevant. With the
Oh, not
pressure.
relevant because you don't
No,
know.
it is relevant. It is
Yeah,
relevant.
it's
but
relevant
the whole
when you
point
know.
is that once it solidifies, it's not going to go back to liquid.
Yeah,
It's
we
a
all
one-way
know that.
transformation.
Yeah, don't talk about the basics of adamantium. We all know that.
Right,
Yeah,
back to Brian's.
I have to remind
Brian's
everybody, though.
point. in
Thank
terms
you,
of
Adam.
Pressures. So standard air pressure described in Tor is 760. To use some of these calculators that theoretically give you what the air pressure will be up there, that is 0.06 pascals, which converted is 0.00047 torr, so 4.7 times 10 to the minus 4 torr. So compare that with 760. So I think that's 7 orders of magnitude difference.
Wow, that's more than I was expecting.
What are these special materials again, Arwen?
Hold on, though.
Not just
Hold on.
composite plastics,
Just 1 second.
carbon
Just let me ask Adam
plastics.
something. Hold on,
Goes
Adam.
really
Just 1
far.
sec. Just 1 sec.
God.
Yeah, just 1 sec. So 7 orders of magnitude, but here at 14.7 psi, we can only achieve something like 8 orders of magnitude here on the ground, can't we?
I don't know that detail in terms of how it's.
I think that's 10 to the minus 6 to
10
your
to the
vote.
negative 6.
In NASA. Well, I don't know if they can go further than that. Ballers say they can, but I know the NASA vacuum chamber in Sandusky, it's 10 to the minus 6.
10 to the minus 6 would give them 9, wouldn't it?
9 orders.
Then
of
again,
magnitude.
ballers say that
I
curved
just
lines
want
are
to clarify
straight,
this
etc.
point. Just with Adam, let me get to the end of the point. So here on the ground, we can achieve how many orders of magnitude differential, Adam?
From what Brian's saying there, that's 9, isn't it? We're creating from there, and then that differentiates to, I say 7, wasn't it? 4 and 3.
So in other words, okay, yes, obviously 2 orders of magnitude is absolutely enormous, but we're still talking 7 orders of magnitude in terms of the differential that they'd have to. Yeah, now that I know that detail, Brian, absolutely, I am 100% behind you. The area they claim to go to at 330,000 feet, that area wouldn't exist at the pressures that are claimed.
No, and there's nothing that you could build to fly in it with humans inside it.
No.
Nathan, not all.
No.
That's funny. That's.
Go on, Chocolate.
Sorry. No, I was just saying that number, it's funny, that's like 200,000 feet higher than Baumgartner. That's cute.
Okay, so this is a deeper fabrication than might meets the eye. I think that's the expression.
Well, the argument that remember the argument some years ago before the gas pressure argument was always, do rockets work in a vacuum? It's not whether rockets work in a vacuum. It's that how could you have, what would you have to build it
It's
of?
what vacuum?
Yeah, what vacuum? But do you know what I mean? What would you have? But what would you have to build it of? And how would you build it to have human beings exist inside? You know, we need a certain air pressure, otherwise you'll go unconscious. So what
Well, we can
build it
hold
of?
on. We can answer
Differential.
that. Hold on, we can answer that. So presumably, if we can only achieve the maximum we can achieve is 9 orders, and that's I've seen it. It's like 5 foot thick steel walls, right? If what I'm thinking of is that particular NASA vacuum chamber that you've described. Say again.
I think it's 8 from what I remember.
Right, but there's going to be everything in between, right? On the ground, somebody will have got a pretty substantial, I would imagine, chamber that can achieve 6 orders. The same, in other words, the same differential at the very least. Right? That will be, someone will have that. That will be in existence. If you've got to 9 orders, there's going to be everything in between. There must be. So we can probably qualify what you'd need, Brian.
Yeah. No, there is. There is.
Sorry, man. I was just going to make a joke. Nah, just make a capsule that's, the size of 3 sheets of aluminum foil, make it like 10 feet, square feet, and yeah, you're good. Put it in a vacuum and everything's great.
Yeah, well, NASA tests out all their astronauts and all their stuff inside vacuums, don't they?
No, they don't.
No.
Exactly, they don't, because they can't. It can't be done. The pressure differential is too much. As I said, a massive weather balloon, helium balloon, can only be partially filled because when it gets to 21, 22 miles up, it expands out so much it starts wanting to explode. You know what I mean? It's like a commercial airliner is 11 to 12 psi because they can't bring it lower because it'll just cause health problems or unconsciousness of the passengers, and they can't bring it higher because it will cause structural problems because the internal pressure will be too different to the external. And that's at 5 and 6 points up. That's like 35,000 feet up. So, they're not going, like, if you're trying to put a human being into something, that means that human being needs a certain amount of air pressure to exist. What are you building these things of for them to withstand the external pressure, or the internal pressure that's needed for human beings not getting out to the external? You know what I mean? It's not possible.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you for doing all the maths, Adam, on the spot.
Thank you, Adam.
How thick were those walls and how much rebar? Just for 6 minus tar? 6?
We don't know.
There's 6 foot concrete and 2 foot steel.
But for 9 orders
I
of
think.
magnitude, though.
So maybe it works in reverse. You need less protection as the magnitudes get higher. That's why up there you only need 3 sheets of aluminum foil.
Well, no,
tape.
it's less. The differential's less. So it's 6 orders of magnitude is the differential that they're claimed to be experiencing at 330,000. Well, here the maximum is 9 that's been achieved. Now, so far no one's dug out. Well, this particular one gives you exactly 6 orders of magnitude differential to say this would be comparable to the differential.
Well, NASA has other vacuum chambers, and there is other vacuum chambers in Russia and China and places like that. Before they had the Sandusky one, they had other ones that were less than 10 to the minus 6. They might have 10 to the minus 3 and 4 and stuff.
Exactly.
So they've had those like.
Yeah, exactly. And one of them,
exactly,
and one of them will show the differential that's comparative. That's all I'm saying. Just not the one that we're referencing that's 9 orders of magnitude. But there we go.
Yeah, another part that comes into it is lift, because if you can't build something that's extremely heavy just to withstand an internal pressure getting out to the external, you can't do that. Because no matter what you do, once you send something up there, I don't care if you use rockets, right? At the end of the day, it's like it's going up into a lower pressure. That means, they have to deal with lift, right? And weight versus lift. That's part of aerodynamics. Like when it comes to airplanes and stuff, weight versus lift. Weight is the enemy of lift. You know what I mean? Lift is up and staying up. Weight is down and bringing it down. So, like, are they trying to claim that they're sending submarines up there on rockets? Do you know what I mean? How long is that going to stay up there? How are they going to stay up there? How are they? How are they what are they pulling in? How are they making it all happen? There's so many factors to this. Like, first of all, there's the human factor because of the air pressure, and then you have lift versus weight.
Do you think it helps their case at all that you have astronauts like literally on record talking about how thin the outsides of these vehicles were? Like, how does that help their case when they're supposedly going somewhere where they need more protection than anywhere else that known to man?
It doesn't.
But yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Well, they've positioned their story in a region that isn't real. And by the sounds of things, the more I hear about this Shatner story and Bezos rocket, it's going to the same place. Doesn't matter if they're right on the border of the sky vacuum. The sky's not a vacuum. If they're claiming to visit that region just beyond the Kármán line, all right, well then you managed to just poke your head through the Kármán line and look back down as described as maybe the blue layer that was first popped through. Yeah, well, that's gas pressure. What do you think it's doing there? You think it's just hovering around, chilling out, getting fat, and then falling back down like the rebellious gas particles? No, if there's an area of space for them to travel into with that rocket, then every bit of gas that was around them would be continuing its directional travel into the area also. So, as far as I am concerned, this story, doesn't matter whether they define it otherwise, takes place at the limits of an area that cannot possibly be real. They're saying they went up to the Kármán line. Well then, beyond your Kármán line, where you said you just popped your head through, would be an area that all of that gas pressure would want to fill. Entropic law, regardless of how it's applied in this instance, genius though it may be by Brian in terms of how the capsule wouldn't work, this is no different to arguing about whether or not your rocket itself can push off the non-existent gas pressure when you're out in the 10 to the minus 17 torr vacuum that doesn't exist. Now, if they're going to say that this is 10 to the minus 1 torr, well, okay, you're claiming to be looking out into a region that's getting ever lower in terms of its pressure. Well, all that's going to happen is entropy is going to want to increase, and the gas that you've claimed to have just travelled through, that you've passed through an area that it's just stopped at? No, that's a violation of natural law. So this entire story just sounds like a watering down, a dilution of the same exact nonsense that's claimed by NASA and SpaceX or anybody else that's claiming to go out to the sky vacuum. They're not. So at that point, where they're going somewhere where you can't and doesn't actually exist, does it really matter that they've got 3 mil of aluminium protecting them against 10 to the minus 1 Tor? Does it matter? Well, no, the entire thing is a charade. A charade. It's nonsense.
Yeah, and Nathan, my examples were all real-world examples. I'm not even speaking about their claim of 60 miles. Like, I'm speaking about submarines, commercial aircraft, and weather balloons. Like a weather balloon's going up to between 20 and 24 miles and they explode. And that's not anywhere near 10 to the minus 4. That's 10 to the minus, I think 10 to the minus 2, something like that, Tor. And they can only be partially filled because they will expand out so much and explode. So, I mean, you know, the whole thing is like, just use real world examples. The whole thing is completely preposterous.
Yeah. So the sky's not a vacuum. They're claiming to be looking out, popping their head through gas pressure that's not escaping into the region if they're going to claim it's space. Well, then it's a space. What does gas do when it comes to space? Oh, yeah, it fills it.
We've just done a little bit more looking now because none of this is real. It's all calculators and statements. It's the only thing I can find is 80 kilometers where there's a statement of 0.01 Tors, but that's what still 1, 2, 3, or 5 orders at 80 kilometers. So it's hard to really get anything because it just seems to be at these heights based on, let's say, formula rather than citation.
The thing about that, Adam, is as I said before in that presentation I made about the sun causing the pressure gradient, is after high altitude balloons, there is no other real world data. After that, the next step after that is NASA or whatever space agency sounding rockets to go off out into outer space and send back pods of data. You know, after high altitude balloons, there is nothing else. There is no other data. There is no real world data after you're talking 20, you mean between 20 and 30 miles up. There is no, even if there is, I wouldn't even say past 25 miles.
Hold on. Adam just said that, hold on. Adam just said there was stuff at 50 miles. What did you have, Adam?
At 80 kilometers, it was 0.01. I'm reading the disclaimer on this air pressure altitude calculator. And the formula's P equals POE, the minus H over HO, where we've got atmospheric pressure at sea level, height in altitude, and the scalar to apply it to. Note, the surface pressure there is approximately 1 bar, and the scale height of the atmosphere is approximately 7 kilometers. So they've only taken data up to 7 kilometers to derive their scale. I say the rest of it after that is just applying that scale to that imaginary height. As well.
Oh, this can go straight in the bin.
It's
all calculation, Adam. After that point, after high altitude weather balloons, it's all calculation. Because remember, even if you look at the percentages they give you for our let's say air supply, right? That's all based as well, right, on calculation.
Nope.
Because their belief is that there's a 6,200 mile high atmosphere, when the truth is we have an air supply that goes up to maybe 30, 36 miles maybe or something like that. You know, there's no evidence past a certain point in the sky.
I've got another one here. It's Keesian.casio.com online calculator, atmospheric pressure from altitude calculator, and same thing, same parameters, but the formula again reads, but it's got a clearer bit of intro. The atmospheric pressure observed is adjusted to the equivalent sea level pressure in order to construct an isobaric weather map. If the altitude is more than 11 kilometers high above sea level, the hypsometric formula cannot be applied because the temperature lapse rate varies considerably with altitude. So another disclaimer that it's only really works at things we can verify. So they're not much used, these online
I
calculators.
say, so beyond that, that's it. That's what you've got that's accurate. Okay, so this Bezos rocket becomes a new source for that then, right? They've come back with, presumably with altitude and claim pressure data on this trip, or is that just not the purpose? Arwin, you mentioned that they were showing those figures. I don't know what you mentioned. You mentioned it earlier. I'm sure you did.
Those figures, well, they did show like an altitude meter constantly during the whole thing. I don't know how reliable it was, right? But yeah, I couldn't detect any like, oh, this is obviously wrong or off or anything. So I don't know. I don't know how high they really went.
I'm curious. Any camera footage from inside? Any of that?
Nope. But there was mention,
Oh.
though. There was mention of the moment. Oh, look, they're now at the
In
point. where they-
2021, no footage from these guys on the inside of this penis rocket. But in
Nope.
69, we had full HD
I've seen a little
color.
with
Really?
yeah, a little bit of a bloke sideways floating upwards a little bit, and Shatner looking out the window, and he looks at the bloke floating, you know, looking like he's a bit weightless. But that's literally for 4 seconds. That's just what on one of the news things people put in. You know, there's a little bit of video, and then it goes into 3 minutes of clips from Star Trek, which I found more telling. That the clips they use are from the 60s show, and you get 3 seconds from Bezos' shit.
So, Adam, who took that shot of them floating?
Just like a little crappy looking web, and it was low res as well.
Okay, so they had
Oh no
they
way!
only turned it-
They're using Crapovision as well. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, that's why I asked. Because in 2021, you would think the technology we have to 4K this beautiful event where we're sending this world famous actor into space where he's been acting like he's been going for years. You would think you'd have a pretty good shot of that. Nah.
I'd love to see Dilly Gill take this apart. So if anybody can get a word to Dilly Gill and say, hey, any chance you can just have a quick look at the Bezos Shatner nonsense and just pull it apart like it was a 1980s NASA launch, just for fun. It'd be great to see someone like him dissect it, right?
Oh yeah.
So you mean, Chocolate, that their camera on their phone was more powerful than the one in the craft?
I mean, apparently. I mean, what I'm saying is, did they show any of that during, like, while it was happening, or did they have to wait to get on the ground to, you know, to show that? Because you would think you'd have like the side by side, like, you know how we just sent these clowns to the International Swimming Station. Yeah, we had beautiful footage of them inside doing 27,000 miles per hour while crossing their arms and legs and shit, right? So why didn't we get that with this?
I've just looked it up. There is actually a genuinely reasonable explanation. Apparently, inside the rocket, there's a little light that comes on to turn your seatbelts on and turn off all electrical devices because it might mess with the flight controls. So obviously they couldn't turn on their phone.
Beverages once we level up.
The no smoking signs came on. That's what you said. Okay.
Yeah, you know what's so amazing is that they could easily put cameras on the outside, vertically, horizontally, but they don't. They can put cameras on the inside, looking in the interior, catching the, faces of the so-called astronauts, and then also from the inside looking out the window, but they did not. And so all you see is it going up and coming down, and then these wonderful experiences that we have no proof of.
This is going to be about 3 seconds if you want me to play it, Nathan, or I can just screen, just move it a little bit. It's
No, just play. If it's only 3 continuous seconds of video, I'm sure it'll be fine. Just click the hide button. Just click the hide button first.
Oh yeah, sorry, mate. To make it bigger as well.
Oh no, that's fine. That's good.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, there we go. And that's your lot.
Wow.
We can go to reporters.
Hello?
It looked like a caravan.
Hello? 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 Check. Hello?
Yes, we
Tommy.
hear you.
Yeah, we hear you, bro. You're good.
I was speaking earlier. No one could hear us. I had to leave and join the room again. Talking to myself that whole time, like abbreviating on what people were saying and stuff. I think when you said about the rockets going up and stuff. Obviously, you say it can't be air. So let's say it's definitely not like absence of air. Sorry. So it's got to be something, right? And then think about waters above, and you think about.
God, don't interrupt this for this. Hold on. Go ahead, Adam. Just finish off where you were.
No, so that was the point. This is the quality and the length of that we get from this epic point of for mankind, and then, like I said, we get a lot more better quality
It looks
from the 60s.
Why is he not floating? Why is the other guy just floating? Not him.
Well, that was what I thought was a little bit weird. He looks. Oh, no, maybe he'd have been to space. He does
religious,
look.
Nathan, I don't have any religion, you know.
I'm not. I don't
believe in any of the
Tommy,
texts and stuff like that, but I'm just listening.
just answer me this. Can you hear Adam talking?
Yeah.
So while he's in the middle of a sentence, do you think it's necessary to tell us that you don't have a religion?
Because you said I did, and I just thought that I didn't have one. But I didn't hear him at the beginning. I thought he ended his sentence, and I've been listening for a while.
He's in the middle of talking.
I'll wrap up quickly so we can get to your theology, Tommy. All I'd say, look, that's all you get is this little bit, and as you say, though, he looks around. Look, this guy's sideways floating. Shatner's not thinking, "Oh, I'm going to push off." He looks around and goes, "What's he doing?"
I mean, did they strap him down so that he doesn't float away? Maybe he's too old, so they needed him to stay put. Like,
watch, look. Well, why is my bum not lifting?
Yeah. And that's it.
Yeah.
Wow.
You got to post that, Adam. That's great.
Well,
Okay.
William looks impressed.
But this is high wire work.
Could be.
Could be.
All fake.
Could
Probably.
be. Hold on. Just give us the 3 seconds again, Adam. This is
Okay, it is. Yeah, it is.
This is
I
clearly.
have a very bad.
Just make my statement nice and clear.
Not during the live launch.
This is clearly trapeze. Stick it
That's
on.
what it looks like.
That's what it is. It's
Well,
trapeze.
I
It's on
want-
a high wire. That's what it is.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Who did they buy the caravan off? Because that's what they're inside.
It looks like a high. One of them posh trappers had it beaded, isn't it? Yeah.
And look, there's a camera right there on the left of William Shatner, right? Does that look like a camera? Where do we get that angle? And all the angles, because there should be like 30 cameras in this thing. Oh, but what do they tell us? Oh, NASA doesn't have to show you guys anything.
It's on the ground.
They're not obligated to show you.
This is on the ground. This is not in the air. What you are looking at now is a stage. This is not in the air. This is on the ground, on a set with high wire trapeze. What you are looking at here is not in the sky. These screens, which is what they are presenting an outside view. They are not windows. This is not a spaceship. This is not in the sky. This is a stage with men on high wire.
I agree.
You agree?
That's what it is.
Man's a liar, then.
I wasn't looking for affirmation.
It's part of
I
the
wasn't looking
stage
for
show.
affirmation. I was stating it as a matter of fact. That is what this is. That is a trapeze. This is a stage. That is not a man in a sky vacuum floating. That's a stage. Fact.
And next to this stage is the White House stage with "Let's Go Brandon."
Right. No, I just want to make this point. I agree with Nathan. This is staged. I've kind of already defaulted, like, yeah, whatever they say about what's happening up there, that can't happen. So this was probably done separate and then added in later. That doesn't automatically default William Shatner from actually having gone up in the rocket. It's just a separate thing.
Hold on. Show me, please.
I can't. I just can't exclude it either.
Right. Okay. As far as I'm concerned, William Shatner hasn't even gone up high. Hasn't even gone up high in the sky. That hasn't happened.
As far as
just one more thing. So, Chocolate, back to you. You said that you suspect that they're just sending up a firework. Yeah, that's what's happened. Nobody's gone up high. Shatner's not even gone anywhere.
Yeah, I don't think they're taking the chance to put people in these things that supposedly to explode half the time they try to send them up there anyway.
Not in these ones.
You're going to take this beloved actor and put him in this thing? Nah, I don't think
this thing doesn't
and then
explode.
with no footage except the 3 seconds? Nah, I don't think
Well, let's carry
No,
on.
that's a straw man because these rockets don't explode.
Okay, fine.
They don't.
Go on, Ted.
Let's carry.
In previous times with NASA projects, yeah, that's dangerous. These things, no, they don't.
Okay, let's carry on with what Arwin is saying just for entertainment. Let's say it doesn't explode and it actually went up. But this part, Arwin agrees, is filmed on the Earth and is a stage. So then everything this man says is a lie.
Correct.
No.
Yes, correct. That's fact.
No.
Every part, every aspect. I didn't need any more than a second of that footage to know what a trapeze looks like. Instantly, I can see what a high wire looks like. I know what a high wire is. I've seen enough high wires, right? So that's a high wire. Instantly, everything else is fake. Because if that one aspect that's supposed to be filmed from a higher vantage point on a spaceship is fake, then it's all fake.
Except for the caravan.
I disagree. No. What is fake is fake. What is not fake.
No.
One being fake, obviously fake, does not exclude the other from being real.
It does. Right, I could have drawn a line under this just by the fact that they'd gone up to what was claimed to be a height that was the Kármán line. Right? As soon as you go up to an area that's claimed to be beyond an area where gas isn't filling the space, in other words, they're at the point beyond a second law of thermodynamics violation as a claimed destination. I could have drawn a line under it there. But up until that point, having seen literally none of it, with the descriptions given to me, I'm like, I'm prepared to tolerate that they might have managed to get him up in the sky and drop him back down again, because you're not going to subject William Shatner to what you've just seen on screen. That would be massive G-forces from a rocket forcing him up into a claim to be place that doesn't exist. So that bit definitely didn't happen. Then when you cut to the footage 3 seconds or otherwise, I only need a split second of that to know what I'm looking at. That has been filmed here. There's no question in my mind about it. So therefore, he hasn't been sent up in the penis rocket, and he hasn't given us any pictures from the vantage point that was claimed. The paid actor. Well, that's not shocking. This is all... It's all a charade. It's all nonsense. It's all a big lie.
I disagree. It might be. I'm not excluding that you are right. I'm just saying it doesn't necessarily have to be completely like that. Yes,
fine.
Hold on. Yeah, just let me lead you. Hello, Arwin. Okay. Let Arwin give his Joe Rogan. Maybe there's moon bases on the moon, and they've got a secret mission that really did it. So was there a separate mission for him?
Rogan.
Was there a separate with Rogan? Was it separate mission that maybe sent him up off behind the scenes, and he did really go up? It just wasn't any of the fake stuff that we've already pointed out. It was a separate mission, right, Arwin?
No. That's a straw man.
Not a straw man. If he didn't go up on the fake rocket to the fake place that definitely wasn't the destination of the film footage, because it doesn't exist, regardless of all the objections to the materials used and the differential for the claim to be fake place that doesn't exist, that immediately draws a line under it. But then when you cut to men on trapeze that's going out with the propaganda news footage as being in a rocket, that instantaneously means that part of the presentation that is claimed to be showing Shatner going to space isn't real. So unless you can claim that he's gone up by some other means, he didn't do this, Arwin.
No.
Okay,
No, can I reply without
you can.
freaking interruption?
Yeah, you can.
for
Go ahead,
once?
Darwin.
Yeah, so I totally disagree with that. Because, yes, he is an actor. Yes, he likes to play along with these games. I'm pretty sure that he did do a high wire, supposedly non-gravity stunt with these guys in separate footage and allowed it to be added on to the official story. That doesn't mean that he didn't actually get in the rocket and just fly up there like a big ride. You can't exclude that. Just because there is a piece of fake, obviously, very clearly fake footage presented, doesn't mean that the event didn't happen. It just didn't happen the way they want us to believe
There
it
it is.
happened.
But boom, there it is. The way they want us to believe, so therefore, separate, non-viewed. No, they've just presented a story, a little fairy tale, and that's what we've got. No, separate could be some other way, Arwin. That's my point.
It's added on.
Not added to. That's the only stuff we have. Added to what? The separate stuff that we're not seeing, that you assume is out there?
No, it doesn't exclude him from actually going up there. It just
yes, it does.
Goes to show that he went along to give a fake presentation of how the mechanics work with this high wire situation, right? Just means that he's a sci-fi enthusiast. He worked along with it to reinforce the belief of space and how it's supposed to work. Doesn't exclude him from actually having gone up in the rocket.
It didn't go up in the penis, man. What is your problem? Why are you fighting for this, Arwin?
There's a
I'm
nice
just
part
being mechanically
after
correct here. I'm being correct.
After they separate the supposed head of the penis from the rest of it, and this comes down, they're not showing what's going on with the capsule. So how do we know that that shit wasn't just dropped off by some passing plane or something? How do we know that?
It could be. I agree. This is a quantum situation. We don't know for sure. It could be all faked, but it doesn't necessarily have to be.
It's on screen. It is fake. They are on high wire. What part of this are you finding defensible? Because none of it's defensible, Arwin. Don't side. It's just facts. It's on screen. It's literally on screen. The guy's on a high wire. The moment I see this, I know beyond all certitude that what's been presented isn't what it's claimed to be. I'm not going to then suddenly try and cognitively process how it could be what they've said, but have shown this shit, which is clearly a man on fucking high wire.
Can I interject something here? Art?
The hair's all sprayed as well. Like hair's supposed to flow in weightlessness. It's not supposed to be sprayed up and be all like erected. Hair doesn't get erected in zero gravity. It'd be all flowing around like water. It'd be effortlessly gliding around. You don't see that with the women's hair. You see like sprayed hair. It's all like it just doesn't look real at all.
All right, Tommy.
You guys you have to look at it.
Okay, Tommy, once you've interjected, you've got to have a pause. Let the person that you've interrupted get to the end of that.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead, 10th.
Yeah, first to Arvin, with all due respect. Please, can I go on without any interruptions? I'd like to say.
Absolutely not. You will be interrupted.
Well, if he's dropped, then I won't. Thank you. Okay. For Arwen's position to have any weight, so to speak, he'd have to agree that the shot that he said was fake was real.
Precisely.
By Arwen admitting that that part is fake, anything else he says to validate this whole thing that happened yesterday is false. Because once you know you're being lied to, how can you say, but there is a chance that that part wasn't a lie?
Well,
because
it's like
what's more likely? A convincing lie.
What's more likely? But what's more likely? That they spent a load of money sending a rocket up there and have all these health concerns with William Shatner and whoever else, or they just faked the whole lot and told you they did that.
Well, that's the logical deduction, because you'll say
there's no logical deduction. What's going on? Why are we?
No,
why
no,
are we?
no, let
why
me
are we? Hold on,
finish.
stop.
Let me-
Everyone, calm down. Right. There is no logical deduction when you see the stage. Right.
That's
At
what
that
I'm
point,
saying. but
stop. At that point, you've got a choice. Do you suspend disbelief or recognize what it is you're actually looking at? You're looking at a stage. That's the end of it. There's no, well, by logical deduction, because I'm looking at a stage, therefore the actors, characters, lighting, and stage production might be real. No,
That's not what I
you
meant.
are actually looking at a stage.
That's not what I said, though. Well, I'm commenting on Brian's extra comment, which made a lot of sense to me, which was, if you're going to fake this part, then you're going to fake definitely the part that's going to cost you a lot more money.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, if you were a baller, you would easily say, well, it costs more to actually fake it than to actually do it for real.
If it was on the rocket, you'd have footage from the rocket, right? Inside. You don't need to fake internal shots with men on high wire if you're actually doing it. Now, if a rocket actually went up and people were bearing witness to a firework going up, then that's precisely what they saw. What did you actually see, Mr. Observer? I saw a cylindrical object shaped slightly like a penis going up into the sky. So that's what happened. Did you see William Shatner in it? Oh, no, I wasn't anywhere near enough to see him getting in or anything. I just saw the rocket fly up. Okie dokie then. So that's what you can confirm happened then. And nothing more. Well, let's cut to the internal shots of the man on the rocket then. What we got? Well, we got a man on a stage. Well, then you can either suspend disbelief or don't. It's up to you. Me? No. The suspension of disbelief ended the moment I saw the high wires.
Well, why put people into all that danger and spend all that money on something you can fake and people will believe it anyway?
Yeah, they didn't. They faked it. They put them all on high wire. So that's kind of a self-defeating question because they definitely did. Why would you? Oh, well, they didn't. They just stuck them all on high wire. We saw.
Yeah,
You're breaking Arwen's heart.
Faked all that.
Well, the problem is not breaking Arwen's heart. The problem is Arwen needs to realize his hero's a liar.
Oh, you got
an actor. It's called actor. Like acting. Like it's not that hard, man. I understand maybe
Star
that's
Trek
his hero,
means a
that's his
lot.
man's in them, but nah, that's just he could just be bullshitting. And
I had this conversation with Arwen years ago. I was like, you sure you're okay still watching Star Wars? And he was like, yeah, I can still deal with it. It's all good. It was lies. He wasn't ready.
It's like, look, what they can't do any of this stuff, right? And even if they could, they wouldn't. If they can fake it and just make you believe they did it, that's that.
I mean, people have passed out in like F-14, like supersonic
That's funny, that
airplanes.
gift, sorry.
But
Roller
90-year-old William Shatner does all good with the G's of a rocket. Right.
No, what's worse?
And I'm
What's
selling
worse is
geometric horizons too.
what's worse
Got
is
it.
that you got a camera inside the capsule, but you don't ever use it.
It looks like an old camera as well, to be honest.
Yeah, like
That's
something, like something off the side of a building.
Yeah, it's like a CCTV camera, isn't it, from years ago.
But you'll still have Globers defending. Oh, there's uncut footage from the ISS. That's like 40 minutes long. We've never seen that, but yeah, it's uncut footage. But what's supposedly like a 10-minute flight? We could have get 10 minutes of uncut, just going up and coming back down real quick. Nah.
Well, and there to make it look like it's being filmed and it's real. When actually, an iPhone camera is so much better and it's very flat shape with protection inside of the ship, and you wouldn't even know it was there. But no, they got to put this big one there So see, we're filming this because we're not afraid to prove we're into space, except we never see any footage.
I'm surprised at Arwen being so
triggered.
Yeah, but William Shatner. It's just like William Shatner as an actor. He's been famous for
He's
years.
back. I know he's not.
Sorry.
I think he's just he's having technical difficulties. I am, to be perfectly honest, which means maybe it's a European thing, but you're not, Brian. Either way, he's struggling to get on. He seems to be joining and dropping.
Well, I don't know what's going on.
It didn't seem like a rage quit. I don't think... I know Arwen a fair amount of time. William Shatner's not something he's going to rage quit over, I assure you. He's demonstrated plain passion about this. Yeah. He's not going to rage quit over this, I assure you.
He literally said he was going to drop if we continue whatever it is that we were doing.
He did.
Did he? Oh.
You big bully.
Yeah, he said it more than one time.
Oh, I didn't hear him say that. Maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention.
You know how he feels about Star Trek and William Shatner? You couldn't just let him have his little rocket launch.
No. His little rocket launch. Oh yeah, let's just hold on to that one violation of natural law. I mean, it's all good, right?
Well, he's a good actor, that William Shatner, I gotta admit.
Okay. If you say so.
He was very emotional.
I'm sure he was. I'm sure he put on a great
First of all, hold on. Can't you just realize from yesterday how Arwen was counting it down? Any minute, William Shatner's going up. Oh, it's delayed. Come on. He showed the signs yesterday.
Right,
That's true, yeah.
I'm going to draw an end to this because it's just going to turn into we're going to take the piss out of Arwen session, which I'm not going to allow that, so no. With that, I'm going to say a massive thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible, and of course a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Primary streams for hopefully smashing the super chat, PayPal link, like, commenting, sharing, subscribing, all that good stuff. Also, below this video, you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy, and this is of particular note if you drive an electric vehicle. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!